Philippine Antics. How are you? Hi. Have a good day. You guys are gonna run? Yeah.
Hi, Wilbur.
Hi, Francis.
We gotta find a way to make it stay the same. Oh, we know fans have changed. Take it or leave it, we resist. There's no bucket list, just one close fist. We know fans of change. Yoga in the morning, then wine at night. Train tickets and no flights. Whoa, it's how we roll. Recycle or die is the sum of you and I. Oh, how I love you, and how you always don't stand by. No, we know fans of change. Tacos on Fridays and screaming kids is to fight us down on our list. Wow. Now let it go. Take it or leave it, we resist. There's no bucket list, just one close fist. Oh, we know fans of change.
Hey guys, good morning. How are you guys doing today?
Good morning, Magadan Po. Good morning, guys. So today we will pose the question: are you guys pro Camp Campbell or pro Camp Philippine Antics?
Huh?
I'm just messing with you. No, it's anyways, so I caramba, people, I caramba. You're looking pretty good, George. Looking kind of dapper there. No, you do. You look really young today.
Still ugly.
Well, that's, cuteness is in the eye of the beholder, and we know you're a ladies' man and everything.
No, I don't think they're after the looks. I've always been ugly.
That's not what they said the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, lot going on, guys. We just seen that the Campbell camp has put out another video. Both me and George will comment on this today. George has fully watched the video. Just a lot to say about that. We also seen the person that has responded to it because she was making references to the comments. His wife is making. Hey guys, will you stop? Kitties don't eat chocolate. Why are you eating the chocolate?
Most animals don't.
I know, it's weird. She was
Or
chewing
rather shouldn't.
Well, she was chewing at the wrapper, is what she's doing.
Just feed them avocados as an alternative.
Okay.
I'm joking. Don't do that.
Okay. So I myself on that video, a lot going on. When people start talking about David was at the airport situation, we had not seen the video. Since then, we had seen the video. I've been resting the last 2 days. So I've been practically almost in a coma situation. And thank you for everybody asking how I'm actually doing.
Thank you, guys.
My face is really healing up. I've only have the 2 butterfly stitches. The doctor said that it's healing really well. And oh, they're trying to play with the fish, babe. Is this charged up? Are we having issues again?
No, it's probably one of the cats. because I hit the buttons earlier. Sorry about that. Yeah. No, the cats got jumped on the computer right before the live, and
Go get
they
that
pushed the
fish,
echo
kitty.
button. Sorry about that.
So I'm kind of losing my train of thought. I'm still exhausted, guys. So, so I know we'll go through and
Yeah.
we're not really getting anywhere. I'm trying to find a list that I haven't. Also, so we'll be talking about the Campbell situation. Again, we now just seen those videos. We just seen where Rose gave an update. A lot of comments from people. We read her comments. We'll talk about like our life, you know, whether we would put all that out or not, whether how real we would keep it. There's a lot to actually discuss on etiquette, on YouTube etiquette, on you know how far, because as I was talking to George, we've been through bad fights. We told you guys have seen them on air. You guys have seen, and we're not like hiding that part. Okay, it's one thing to sit here and bicker, and we've seen David and Rose bicker on air. I mean, to we've seen it. We've seen where they've been in their car and different things. People have seen this, but it's another to put him in his most delicate state or talk about his delicate states and then put the full war of roses on air. Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. It actually almost wow, okay. Was that no pun intended?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like literally it's unfolding, and so we'll make a statement on that. Also recently we've seen a few things going on. One, we've seen an interview recently go passing through where the guy lives in our area. He lives within Pampanga, that says he's living on $600 a month. So I'm not sure that that's even possible, especially being he travels and does other things. But we'll discuss his budget. Can you really live on $600 a month? And there's been a bunch of expats that have come up where during the pandemic it really wiped them out. There was another interview we seen where the gentleman had some major issues and he's trying to make it home. So it's kind of like the Daryl situation all over again. But there's a lot of things, so we might discuss that or save it for another live. So,
Well, we'll see how it goes. No, there's a lot of interesting things going on, and it's not just one channel. Again, like there's an exodus of kind of okay. Let's be honest. There's a lot of like I guess expat couple breakups lately. Now, I don't know what external factors are. I mean, whether you admit it or not, the external factors do contribute to some breakups. Okay.
real quick on a side note, and as normal, if you guys see me interrupt, it's because of chain of thought and I see comments in the comment section. So that's what I'm looking at here. Hello, Black Grandpa is in the house. Yankee Boy, California Bear, Harry Walsh. Real quick, Ted, thank you for being there as a moderator. Thank you to our subscribers. George Manning, not sure why. There was a YouTube glitch. We seen that while we were setting up the live. They were in there initially when we first turned on the computer, and after a while, they actually, and it had nothing to do with actually us because I sent a screenshot to the moderator showing that even in the studio itself where YouTube shows it, the messages aren't there either. So
Well,
they would still show if they were removed by moderators or
yeah,
us.
it happens occasionally. It's not the first time we've seen it. When it first happened, we were like, "What's going on?" Now, honestly, it's like, "Oh, it's YouTube."
Right.
Yeah.
But I want to say we have we watch Smoothly. We always have. I love his caretaking. I love what he's done for David. You know, we've had contact with David, as you guys know, no time recently. I did try to reach out. I don't know, was that 2-3 weeks ago? I can try to see it.
The last time we talked about him.
That we tried to reach out to him. I can see where the message was read, but no response. Of course, he's not going to respond. But I know that Smoothly, I seen his last. Now, I don't know if he put out a video in the last day or so. I didn't see that one. I seen where he responded to what was said. And I would have to agree with what he actually said. It shouldn't have been put out there, is my personal opinion, because I want to say real quick that I've been in a very delicate state, and so has George. And we're not talking about George eating a dozen glazed donuts and downing a bottle of Red Horse and passed out on the front porch situation. Would you like a dozen donuts?
Hmm.
But these situations and the worst of times should not actually be put out. Again, I know you guys have seen us bickering and a lot of it becomes debates and everything else. You guys have even seen me explode on air, but sorry, delicate stuff is not put on there, like, you know, how you're cleaning your husband's bum or how you're doing this. And she put all of the nature out there. And we've heard David say a lot of stuff too. I think there's been jealousy with this couple. We think there's been where there has been screaming matches, possibly, allegedly, whatever. We don't know. And there's like you would say, there's three sides to the story. So we do invite, if Smoothly is listening, we would be more than glad to send him a link if he wants to, you know, update or come
Rose
in
and David, of course, are you know,
more than welcome.
more than
That
welcome
is
to.
that is absolutely true. Same holds true. We're not here today. We're here in a concern for David and also for Rose. You know, we understand she's got a household and family and all of that, but we're going to give you guys like our opinion and our sights on. We are one of those that have been watching most and all of their videos and seen it all unfold. And it really is, the situation is kind of, you know, it was just what, 2 months ago that I'm going to make this statement real quick. It was just about a month or two ago. I without the dates in my head, just recently she put out that video where she told all of David's business. You guys remember when she sat down and just said everything and went through a list? She said that she had her family. She said that she doesn't need David, that she's got everything, she had everything. And now in the most recent video, she's saying, I think I can get by another month. And he, you know, I'm cut off from his debit card. And she was kind of going through all this financial stuff. And I'm like, well, didn't she just say she was fine? Didn't she say she had her family? So she's kind of now officially putting his financial out there again. And so we have seen some personal messages that we believe are from family members. We'll probably go through her comments. We want to address you guys, what you think about it. Again, you'll get George's opinion. You know how meek he usually is, unless I push off his buttons. Would you like a Red Horse?
I don't drink beer.
Oh, really? I'm just messing with you again. Trying, you know. Hey, you got a cattail over there.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay, if I ever to drink an adult beverage that's of the malt variety, I hate to say it.
Hey,
I mean,
Peachy, what's up?
I drink Bud Light and Coors Light.
All right, so it looks like he's saying that Smoothly actually dropped a video today. So I'll see if I can listen in on some of that while George goes through and addresses you guys. Because understand, and here's, I want to make a statement right now, and there is no side that we choose right now, and we're not allowed to go into full details. But what I want to say is that our hearts go out to the families of the Filipinos that have passed away due to a situation going on in another part of the world. We're not really allowed to talk about, how do we say that? Conflict. We can't say the other word. There's conflicts going on in other countries. They're trying to repatriate. Last in the news a few hours ago, 92 are being brought home of 100, and I think they said 103. So that's a good number that they've actually found. I'm absolutely devastated what's going on in that situation. And this is one time I'll say we don't stand on either side except for the Filipinos making it home. It's really bad. But one of the gentlemen that something happened to, his family is here in Pampanga. So our hearts go out. The president has reached out to these families, and it was absolutely devastating to see the family.
Yeah.
He had a baby. And well, he's about ready to have a baby, and he just got married. So it's very sad. And the other woman that stood by the woman that was that she was nursing, she stood by her side. She was also about ready to get married, and they're young. And so our hearts go out and for the safety of people, around the world in the US. So I wanted to say that real quick before, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry guys for getting.
Now, just so you know what Heidi's talking about, it just doesn't affect Filipinos. It affects all different races who are currently in that country of conflict. Okay. Technically, we're really not supposed to say anything about it nor take sides for obvious reasons. And again, I apologize to you guys if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but it's relevant. It's all over the news right now.
Yeah.
And we'll just leave it at that. But again, it's not just Filipinos that are affected.
It's people's lives.
And yeah, a lot of immigrants are in that current country of conflict. That's the world spotlight's on them right now. And if you don't know what we're talking about, then I don't know what to tell you.
I haven't watched it. Sorry, babe. I haven't watched it till up to now. So I started last night. Like I said, I've been in a semi-coma, taking medications and not doing so well myself. I had, for those that don't know, I had skin cancer removed from my face this week and went back in for another appointment. I've just been sleeping and I knew stuff was going on, but where I stand, and I think George agrees that people are people, they're humans, and that's
right. And I implore everybody again, I'm not taking sides here because humanity has no sides. And what I mean by that is be aware that don't believe everything you hear in the media.
right.
Social media or news.
Right.
There's something called propaganda. Now I'm not supporting neither
side.
nor except
The human
for
race.
and what I'm getting at is what I'm saying is you're not gonna basically obliterate California because the Bloods and the Crips are there.
That was a good example.
They are a very small faction of that little nation, if that's what you call it. Again, it varies. Point being is
there's no
what you're gonna like obliterate California because there's Bloods and Crips there. No, of course not. That's what I'm getting at. Remember, it's still a lot of civilians. Period.
A lot of innocent
people. Yes. So.
Yeah. So yeah, if you could go through that and. Hey, Ruby's in the house. Good morning. Victoria's in the house.
Hey, Ted. Good morning, Ted. How you doing? Good morning to you, George Manning. Morning to you, Violet. Hello, Heidi and George. Hey, Violet. California Bear 619. I don't like the new YouTube new format with the chat below the screen. I guess I'll have to view it in my TV.
That's probably depends on the.
It could be a device update because honestly, I don't recall. Okay, I'm talking about my experience and Heidi's experience.
I'm looking at the
most of
it's always been
and we've had a lot of different devices. But what I'm saying is, I'm used to that format. Now I don't know if it's a setting. Honestly, I never checked.
Are you on your phone or your computer?
Right. So that's what
no. They're going to be doing a bunch of updates. California Bear. So yeah.
Ted Dinkins, hello, beautiful people. It says, "What is up?" Hey, Jack, how you doing, Jack? Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Jack. Steve Schwartz, my Schwartz is bigger than yours.
And smoothly
love you guys for keeping it real.
Look at his daughter. She is so adorable. She is so adorable. She's so stinking.
Harry Walsh, hello, Heidi and George. Hope your parents are well. Thank you so much, and I hope yours is well too. Hope Dad's doing better. Steve Schwartz says, "Sending love to the most beautiful lady in my life, Lenny Pella. Sorry, Pello Bello. I'm not quite sure if that's how it's pronounced, so I apologize if I mispronounced it. Yes, there was an echo, and again, I set up the sound settings proper, but the cats did jump up on the counter, and I didn't check to see if they stepped on the soundboard. Apparently, they did. Steve Schwartz says, "Love the hair, Heidi."
We got beef today. Just kidding.
Too much echo. Yeah, we already fixed that. Yeah. George 214. Hey, George 214. Great day, George and Heidi, and room. Steve Schwartz says, "Love the humor."
Oh snap!
TA says, that's wild. What's up?
I'd get around to it. I'll be reading some comments of viewers on multiple channels, but Smooth Lee pinned a comment,
Uh-oh.
and I will. Okay.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, it's probably best to read. It's only it's less than a 4-minute video. Les came out 2 hours ago, guys. We've been busy, and I've been in a semi-coma. Smoothly made a statement that he penned. You must ask yourself why anyone would lie to their viewers. Sympathy, wanting everyone to feel bad for her. Always claiming I have no money and don't know what to do about not having any money. Get the money from the viewers and then cry. I don't want to take the money because people say I'm scamming them, but then in the next video stating my husband's left me with no money. Hinting, please send more money. And let me finish the rest of this. Not telling the truth about knowing the whereabouts of her husband only questions more. Smooth Lee has access to David, as I'm to understand. He was the one that helped him in the hospital. That was his statement just pinned. These are the thoughts that have been stated from people that have been emailing us, where we've been reading comments. And funny that we're not seeing those comments on her channel. They probably have even been removed. I'm sure she's watching them. But I had the same thoughts. Again, this is not against Rose. This isn't against David. As a matter of fact, I said earlier that I was kind of more pro David because of his health conditions, and I'm disabled, not as disabled as David. But Rose, it's kind of like a double thing here. Rose knew what she was getting into when she married David. He was fully disabled when they actually met. The chances of her going to the U.S. are slim to none. People have made statements, why don't you go? Why don't you go? Well, it does require David to do this, or to do so, to sign off on this stuff. It's not easy for Filipinas to get into the country and all that. But either way, to respond to this, most of you guys remember that Rose, just like I said, I can look up the date, but in that video where she broke down and told all of his business about his finances and him overeating and all the grocery money and how she buys her own groceries, how she doesn't need him, and she's got her family, she can get by. She was just saying that, was she not, in that one video? And now her last few videos, I will have to agree that it does. I was telling George this morning that if most things are paid, as she was claiming, her YouTube money and the donations she's getting coming in should be more than enough to pay her bills, being she eats lightly, like she said. If she's just eating rice and veggies and has that garden outside and does everything she said, then yeah, maybe things are really actually cheap for her. But I know if we make a few hundred a month and their views are way higher than ours, and she has contributors, as we can see, and that she talks about, she should be able to make a few hundred US dollars a month. So she's not totally broke, but she doesn't talk about how she gets a YouTube check. I don't think that's going into David's bank at this point. We don't know.
Well, I don't think so.
I think it's in her.
And
We don't know. But
okay, on the food and costs and everything, just real quick. Even though you've heard on the news that rice is on the rise, first off, any good rice was not subject to the rice cap when it existed. Okay. Second, even with the high prices of rice, it's still on average the good stuff, the stuff that you will eat. It's $1 a kilo. Okay. So even though, like, oh, rice is expensive, it is.
right.
But it's not.
Right. And her family, as I'm to understand, and I've seen videos, they've been planting rice. She said they had a rice field.
Right. And
she was planting rice. So there has to be rice for the family.
Well, like I said, even worst case scenario, it's still, again, $1 a kilo. I mean, of course, she's not an expat, but her husband is. They are still married. And what I'm getting at is it won't affect you guys.
No, see, that's why I like people who keep it real. And Smoothly keeps it real. Sunshine Shoulders keeps it real. there's a lot of these vloggers that'll put out the information, and because they do, sometimes they get more views, sometimes they get less views, but they don't sway with the wind. They don't sway. We talked about how it seems like some social media or news outlets or, big news outlets actually sway with the wind. All I'm saying is people repeatedly, well said, brother. Thank you for your honesty. Thanks for an update. Oh, hey, what's up, Spence?
Hey, Calvin. How you doing, Calvin?
Hey, what's poppin', sunshine? What's up, Calvin? We will be going to the meet and greet, or I'll be sending my representative, White Boy George here, to the actual meet and greet. I'm just joking. I've been watching Shameless. It's kind of like the family I grew up in. And so if you guys watch Shameless, that's my
You
household.
want a quarter? You want a dime?
What did I say about that? The last time you talked about you can't.
What's wrong with a quarter and a dime and a buck
And a 20?
and a 20?
Okay. You're gonna get us, Cam.
No, I'm gonna get us shanked.
If I have to edit that out, I'm gonna be getting my toothbrush and some matches and a stone.
Okay.
Get the chicken ready. But I'm going to assume. I don't see Violet in there anymore. Further down to the bottom, do you know where you're at?
Yeah. I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Okay, well, I'm trying to see what message was.
Oh. Steve Schwartz says, prayers to you, to your health, Heidi. George 214 says, looking beautiful as ever, Miss Heidi.
Thank you.
Chosen one, my man. Shout out to Rose. Rose, I'm single. Just saying. You the man, chosen one. You the man.
All right, George, I'm going to put you on the spot. Hope you're still in the house, sunshine. You're on a desert island. There's only 3 women there, and I'm already put 3 of them out there. All right, put you on the spot.
Okay.
The Filipina P, Rose, and I don't know, Sharon Lapu Lapu. Who do you go off with?
Wait.
And Rebeauty. We'll put 4
You're
out
asking Calvin,
there.
right?
No, I'm asking you.
Then what? Your question to
Well, him too. I'm just saying he's listening. Who do you choose, babe? He's like, it's a trap.
I have my exact words and exactly.
Well,
My
he said he
words
was single.
exactly.
Okay, how about you?
Chosen one.
Yeah,
Well,
how about
chosen
you,
one, or you already know. He already said it.
Well, but I gave him more choices. That
Oh.
would still be his choice.
Probably. My
All right,
guess.
all right. To the room. Which one? How about you? Good morning, Sarah. Oh my God! If we didn't say have we been back? My mind's been foggy since we got the box. No, we got the box after the live. We didn't update people on the box. I know we're kind of jumping around here. We ended up getting the UPS box after the live, our last live. And thank you again,
Thank you, Sarah.
Oh my God. It was.
You're planning on having biscuits and gravy right after the live.
And probably did you want a side of a little bit of mashed potatoes?
Well, usually biscuits and gravy is served with mashed potatoes, I thought.
Not always, but George said throw that in, and then we're saving a lot of the other items to cover for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, and we should be having
Oh yeah, happy Friday the 13th, guys.
Yeah, it's still Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th. Jason Voorhees, my man.
Da-da-da-da.
Go, Jason.
Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.
It's not Halloween.
Da-da-da-da.
It's not Halloween. It's Jason Voorhees. It's Friday the 13th.
Huh. Okay.
Anyway.
Break out more Red Horse.
Have you ever tasted Red Horse?
No. And I don't ever intend to.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with Red Horse or Sun Mig, but if you like your bud, then you could probably live with Red Horse.
Geechee further down said, I shot my shot with Rebeauty because I did add her in there, but I still think it's the 3. You guys got to choose one. Okay. Actually, I'll give you a 4th choice, a coconut.
All right. So Joseph says Rose. Carl
So-
Butt says Heidi. Rose is the only option.
Aw.
Geechee says
No,
I
think she's cute.
shot my shot with her beauty. She let me down easy. You know that doesn't sound right, Geechee? Just saying.
Right.
Raymond says I picked Sharon Lapu Lapu, but he added at the end. Chosen One says give me the P. Sharon is too old. Dang. Chosen One. Rose in the province picking rice. Peas as I see. I get that. I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
They're all cute, but
Yeah.
everybody has their preference on their
Chosen
women
One.
too.
Peas rich,
Now,
no
mind
brainer.
you have to like them as they are. In other words, you guys know that she's spunky. We know Sharon Lapu Lapu's got a little spice to her. So you guys heard that story where she was went to the guy's apartment. She literally said she kicked him in the rear end when he dropped his robe on her. So she's spicy too now.
Yeah. Geechee Land says I released a video mentioning my interaction with Beauty. Okay.
Yeah.
I literally
this
15
one,
minutes ago.
That's what was. Skip that one. We can't.
Well,
actually.
no. Well, actually, Ted did say something. Let's see.
Hey, what's going on? The Papa Smurf, the OG's in the house.
Black Grandpa says smoothly 64. He dropped a video about David and Rose calling her out and about her lines.
Yeah, that's what I'm listening to. Yeah, no,
Lisa Harnett says, "Hello, beautiful people watching from Michigan.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning. And guys, don't forget before you guys leave this live, if you guys get bored or something or whatever, just do a thumbs up. It helps push us around. And being you're watching us, they're going to probably throw a few more videos into your live feed. We're a are we even middle age right now? So
We're not
George,
middle. Oh yeah, I guess we are middle age.
well, I'm 52 and George is whatever.
No,
Still 30.
It is middle age because I would be classified in my midlife crisis.
We're legally married in the United States. They don't recognize me here.
Not over the
and
hump, over the hill yet.
You're not over the hill, not yet. So you're getting there. And we're a retired couple here for those that are joining. Yeah. So we welcome everybody that's joining the room right now.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
We keep it
Yeah.
pretty real.
Feel free to comment, and again, as long as you don't bully people or talk about inappropriate subjects, then you're welcome. Sarah Tyson says, "Hello,
You guys
roomies."
can talk.
Hey, Sarah.
You could talk about what's his name.
Okay, Steve Schwartz. We'll get back into this, but I'll read it anyway. I wouldn't want to live $600 a month, more like $2,000 a month. Now, we'll talk about first, of course, the star of the show would be David, and then we'll talk about that alleged $600 budget. Okay.
Greetings.
Carl Butts, Heidi, you don't think Rose should tell the truth? Now, there's somewhat a fine line that you have to tread.
And yeah, there is. I do, and I think she has the right because I listened to her. But what it is I think people hear what they want to hear, say, what they want people to hear. And I think when she said the reason she put him on when people questioned her and the other vlogger called her out, she said it's because people wanted an update. Yeah, but you don't put him looking at his worst up there. And like I said, that would be like you guys saying when I've thrown up in bed because of medication, or that it'd almost be the same thing if George turned on a camera and showed you guys, or I showed him when, like in Mexico, when his leg he was in a partial cast because his leg was messed up and he was down and could barely move. And he was really bad. He was in bad shape. He was in pain. I wouldn't want to put all that on camera either.
Yeah. Now,
or to put out every single thing about, I know it's funny and rich coming from us when you guys know we fight, but we don't put out our total finances and say, okay, I'm broke. blah blah blah, nothing in the bank. Heidi eats too much sugar, and starts talking about different things, and it's how she's using the channel. When somebody said she used to do the exercise videos, she used to show little fashion shows, she used to show some of her gardening and cooking. Now all of a sudden it's not all of a sudden, she's been putting David's stuff up for months and months now in regards to what's going on. But I think she should, but I don't think
Right.
it was just, she could have gave an update without mentioning the mental facilities, or she's just going and she's just all over the place.
Now, what I'm about to tell you again, nobody is asking for anybody to lie or anything like that. I'm not talking about parents nowadays. I'm talking about your parents, my parents, Heidi's parents. A
Mhm.
good rule of thumb is, what would your parents do? So, for instance, let's say, hey, John, how's your daughter? Violet, for instance, again, random names. Hey, John, how's your daughter, Violet? As opposed to saying again, like, say, oh, Violet, oh my God, she's a troublemaker. Man, I tell you what, she just, like, basically, like, went in Target and did these running sprees and grabbed a bunch of clothes and ran out, and she got incarcerated. Yeah. Versus, well,
It's like another episode of Shameless.
Violet, she's a handful. She's been, she's going through some rough time. She went into a little bit of trouble.
That would be the best
The end.
way.
That's See, there's a difference between lying and dude.
She could have updated people, and there was even comments why she even did it in front of the kitchen sink like that. It was kind of, all of it was just odd.
Right. Again, what I'm saying is same thing with you guys. I mean, odds are your parents, like you, if let's say you had a fight at school, well, that's not serious. But if you did something serious, like for instance, like, shoplifted from candy from the mall, she's probably not going to mention that. Your mom, she's probably like, yeah, he ran into a little bit of trouble in the mall. You know how kids are. You know what I'm saying?
And she actually said there was a lot more that she could say. Well, sure. Is there a lot more we could say about, our personal life? Like, I mean, I'll give you an example. Okay, we haven't had any love time for 4 or 5 days, or,
Hasn't been that long.
so what I'm saying is there could be more depth. Okay.
I guess as an example.
Okay, well, we used to knock boots like 3 or 4 times a day, and it is not exactly like that right now.
Well, that's with most couples that they go through.
No, I got that.
They
So
go through lulls.
what I'm saying is there more for couples? Of course. Do we, there's a lot, guys. There's a lot more that can go on, and I'm sure she's got some deep secrets. I mean, I'm sure she could go into stuff. I'm sure David could. It's a he said, she said, but it's there is no reading in between the lines of the stuff that she's actually putting out, because it looks very clearly, allegedly, possibly, that this is about money at this point. The numbers, the views, even David. There was one point where I seen David looking up like that, and I told George, I said, I think she's in the room when he says he's not allowed to say something. And I don't know if Smooth Lee's listening. There was a point where I seen him go like this, and he says, well, I'm not supposed to say that, or I'm not allowed to say that. And I said, what's going on? And so, like, a lot of people have been making comments, and maybe I'm going to say too much today, that something is really broken, something's really missing. And honestly, I don't know, there's just a lot going on. And he said that they're doing it for the views. We've even been asked when we're bickering back and forth, are you guys really just doing this for the views? No, I'm actually really PO'd at George. We get into confrontations on air. That's the real thing. But David and Rose show has actually said that it's been for the views situation, allegedly. And some people have made comments, but I don't know. All I know is I feel for David, and I don't know what's really going on. It's crazy, guys. That's all I know, is that it all shouldn't be put out there, and then someone's gonna say, okay, well, you guys are covering. Well, yeah, we're actually going to cover it because it's a lesson to be learned. One, if you're that medically disabled, and then you move out far away from medical facilities, and your caretaker and wife are the same, and you can't get proper care and help and all that, it really can be rough. There's a major lesson to learn from this. And there's a lot of obstacles here. We've talked to and heard about a lot of expats where they get abandoned by girlfriends, where their lives can be good with their girlfriends. But today is going to be about a real lesson on that. It's not really, I don't even know how that other guy's even going to get home. So we were discussing that before the live started. But
yeah, Black Grandpa says that guy living on $600 does not pay rent. He owns his house and pays no rent, and shops in local. We'll get to that again. There's it's a holy story.
Real quick, guy home wrecker at the bottom said you can't blame Rose. She's trying to survive. But according to Rose, she could. There's a difference in. I believe Rose is a nice person. I believe she's an excellent wife, caretaker, and all that. But her character is now on the line from how she's showing her husband in a different light. She's showing how she's in a different light, and how she said she could get by without him. And I feel that I think there's a lot more actually going on. So I don't blame her for trying to survive. Everybody has. We've all been in tight spots, but George would not put me out in that light, and vice versa. As far as that's a lot of, I mean, that was just very bad light regardless.
Chosen One says they're making Smoothly look stupid. They're pulling a rope-a-dope on him.
The rope-a-dope.
It means they're putting him in a corner.
Yeah.
GK, Smoothly exposing the truth, like it or not, Chosen One. Well, no, actually.
Yeah. It sounded like. Yeah, he said he told Smoothly to leave it alone. I mean, there's going to be a limit, but as I'm to understand, Smoothly has been there with him at the hospital and trying to help with different things when David doesn't. We have read comments and received comments and emails where David's family members are coming forward and saying he had a checkered past, and that, he doesn't have a lot of people to help him. So it sounds like Smoothly has stepped forward, but we don't, nobody knows all sides. It could just be everything being pushed up to the light. What is quite evident, and the most important evident, is that David needs help. When he was there on that camera, you could see that he was in bad shape, probably mentally broke down, physically broke down. Remember, he's a diabetic. He needs medication. We don't know, regardless of how he eats or doesn't eat, he needs medicine. He needs food to go with that. It can't be a quick bag of chips and a bunch of sugary items, because there's just a lot going on. The man was in bad shape, and that's where I'm kind of siding is that Rose's family. Rose is okay. She's still got a check coming in from YouTube, allegedly. We could see that the numbers are there. We know they finally got monetized. We know, I mean, what she's not mentioning is she mentioned all that, but she didn't say, but I'll be okay because the YouTube's coming in, or my PayPal's coming in, or, why not all of that, being she's exposing everything else. Right. So that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this comment, respond to it, and then I think we should go into this topic at hand.
Okay.
Geechee Lion says, have you tried Smirnoff's Mule, George? Only 6% out. Okay, first off, Smirnoff's Mule is actually really good. Heidi actually used to make me real mules in the US. She even got these copper mugs because that's the proper way to drink mule. Now, I don't drink beer because, honestly, sorry guys, it's too weak. Now, just real quick, the reason why I was gonna entertain this,
like our love life.
Anyway, unlike most Filipinos, and I'm gonna tell you this right now, I've gone out and drank with Filipinos, okay? And I hate to say this, but most Filipinos are lightweights. I haven't met a Filipino I couldn't outdrink, and I'm not a drinker. Put it that way. I'm like, really, dude? We just started. But anyway,
Babe, look at
oh, the cats are being cute.
um,
Yeah.
the kittens. Okay, so a few of them's on the bed right now, but the daughter really hangs out with the mother constantly, and she's laying on the ledge of the couch, and the mother is sitting upwards with her body down. So she's sitting upwards like a human, and she's laying her head by her daughter. So it's really cute. Now, oh, she's about ready to fall, George. Look at her. Look at her.
Right.
She's about ready to conk out.
Now, we're going to go into the David and Campbell story. Now, for those of you who are just joining in, just real quick update again. David Campbell has some heart medical conditions. I was going to say heart, but I really don't know. I just came out. But anyway, David Campbell had medical conditions, and he was going back to America to, I guess, take care of his medical needs. Okay. So he went over
Second
to,
time.
right. Then went to Las Vegas, and then I believe he attempted to come back home. And I say attempted because when he was in, I believe, the LA airport, he was in Vegas a while, and then he was in LA airport. And then that's when the latest update about David happened. And what happened was, for those of you who haven't been following the story, is the red flags went out when the video started, because I'm like, wait, it's not about the subject at hand. It's like, why am I watching this? Not because I clicked on it. It's because, one, it's recorded. By default, video chats are not recorded. Okay. So what I'm getting at is like, wait a minute. Why is this conversation, which is technically a private conversation, being recorded? That was the first red flag. And again, that nobody ever spoke yet. But I even said to Heidi, it's like, wait, whoa. Why is this being recorded? Okay. So next is what I analyzed would be who recorded it. Not, again, I'm not taking sides. However, it's obvious David was not the one who did the recording, because he didn't look like he was in the condition to. Be aware that, again, he has medical conditions. He had officers assisting him, keyword assisting him, because he was not, it looked like he was on some medication, which I'm not saying he's,
We're not
you know,
sure.
yeah.
He didn't look right to me.
Right.
He either looked heavily medicated.
Correct.
He had been drinking on something. He didn't look right that
Right.
day. That's the worst shape that I've seen him.
Right. So, correct. So, one, again, I don't think he recorded it. And then the third one that proves to me, my opinion, is he didn't do the recording, because he's not the one who posted the video. Now, again, those three red flags went up. I was like, right away, without even knowing the story. I'm like, wait, this shouldn't even be on here. Now, again, David Campbell was probably in a shape that you don't want anybody to see if you love the guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or even care as a friend. I mean, we were talking about relationships and how bad they can get, whether somebody still remains friends, whether somebody, and then we start talking about, it looked like he got Rafina, man.
right.
Which means, George, what does that mean? The
Oh,
Rafina?
I don't know, babe.
Scorched earth. It looks like scorched earth is coming.
So that's what happened, is the video got posted. And again, I was against this because, again, I don't.
Got Rafina.
And some of you say, well, she's just doing an update. Well, let's put it this way. If you were David, would you want that to happen to you? Would you want your partner to do that to you? You're obviously not in the right state, whether it's medical, health, mental. It doesn't matter what state it is. Point is, you're not well. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good look for both parties. And
a weird statement. Matt T came through and said he's dying and she's the victim still.
Okay.
So,
Okay. See. Okay. Thank you. And I say thank you because you're making
and she's the
you're proving
victim.
my point. So the statement was, where is it at?
Which one? From Smoothly.
Oh, no, the one that, read it again. Read what you just read.
Oh, you talking about from
The he's
Smoothly?
dying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Matt T said
Right.
that he's dying and she's the victim still.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's a victim mentality
right.
situation
Exactly. It's
constantly. It's about her constantly
right. What I'm
now.
saying is, let's say my grandfather. Okay. He's already passed. Both.
Real quick, I'm going to address Mr. Fluffy, and I don't, you know, we like you and everything, but Mr. Fluffy's making comments in here. Real quick, David is playing a game. The people at the Vegas airport tried to help him, said he seemed okay. David himself said he could act okay and that he will be back. His daughter said in a reply to me, he's always been that way. Nobody owes him any sympathy, and the medical poor David won't work anymore. No, I'm sorry, Mr. Fluffy.
Oh,
on
I
that
see.
one.
I see.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if he's actually referring that David's okay and that, you know, I've heard both sides from Mr. Fluffy where he said that really that Rose needs to back off on always using David, move on with their other vlogging. Sounds like Mr. Fluffy's on both sides, and some people actually are. But that actually sounded like David is. If David was okay, they would have let him on that airplane. He really wanted to come home.
Yeah. Well,
So
somebody saying. I mean, think of it this way. I got into a car wreck, a head-on collision with a truck, and I literally crawled out of the vehicle. And somebody asked me, "Are you okay?" Like, if I said I'm okay, would that make it? Would that make it that I'm okay? It
yeah,
doesn't mean
no,
that
it
somebody
doesn't.
feels okay. Doesn't
So
mean they are okay.
right. So they're medically not clearing him. And also weirdly, Rose made a statement, and this is still in my head, where she said that she thought that being as he was in the hospital, that he won't be spending any money and that he'd be okay in the hospital, but he couldn't live there forever either. Or evidently they let him out and he went off and spent money and did things, and it's just there's a lot still going on. But we hear you, Mr. Fluffy, on that. And I seen where on their channel his daughter responded. So I don't know if there's something additional that she had said to
Well,
you.
it's a fair point, and it goes back again. A lot of things goes back on each other. And for instance, like Matt says that David is dying. Not my words. Okay,
Yeah,
then
but
she's still the victim. You
he
know.
said nobody owes him any sympathy anymore. And unfortunately, I
I
don't know
just
if that's
okay.
he at least deserves some respect. If he doesn't give her anything anymore or any of that, which doesn't make it right, but you're not going to get, you can't use vinegar at this point. And it's like she's spewing vinegar, not honey at this point. And so if David really is having all this mental issues and medical issues, and people get cranky, I get double cranky when I don't feel good. And so it just seems like she's not going to.
Well, and again, remember, I'm not taking sides here, because again, I'm more for what's the humanitarian side. And what I mean by that is, for instance, again, is it really necessary to quote unquote label he's in the mental hospital? No, just say
No.
he's getting the medical help he needs. It's not lying, but to me, it's
too
off
real.
taste. It's
Yeah.
off taste. It's in bad form.
Yeah, there's one thing where you hear the other vloggers that are omitting everything. Like, okay, I live on 1,500 or 2,000 a month, and then they omit that they're making extra money on top of that, and that they're spending all that money to survive here, and omitting some things or not telling you anything about their life. They're not getting into the nitty gritty. They're just doing the basics. It's another to give like details. I get, like I said, there's probably more things that she could actually say. Like, you know, he sits up and smokes in bed and, Maybe he's not bathing for days at a time. I'm just making stuff up right now. Or that, maybe his undies don't get changed, or maybe this happens, or he just sits around and eats cupcakes. What was that?
Okay.
Ends up eating cupcakes all day, and that he, eats cupcakes and smokes cigarettes and drinks all day. All of this, what I'm saying is I'm sure there are more details. It could get probably a lot more graphic, and because she said there was more, but she's not going to say. But what has been said is actually not good. It's not a good light for him or for her. What is going on is that I know that I'm sure what is in the Philippines is both hers and his. I'm not sure who owns what was bought by who, what was paid by who. We've heard stories that it's mostly paid by David. Let's say all of his money is invested there and he's the monthly person getting paid and everything. He's probably sitting in the US with nothing. So he probably really does want to get home where he's been used to living for years. I think she said it's been 8 or 9 years. So I get that he wants to come home. I mean, I wouldn't want to be away from George. And it's a good chance that if I have to have an open heart surgery or something and I have to go back to the US, more than likely I'm going back by myself. And I would want to get back here as soon as possible. But I don't think George is going to come on and say, wow, Heidi's put on 40 or 50 pounds and she's stinky and she's fighting the nurses and throwing things in their hair and pulling their hair. And you just wouldn't want to go into any details that are.
Some people do that, just so you know.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So it's a lot going on. I'm more concerned that he's just possibly trying to find some sort of peace or something. And I feel that Rose does love her husband. I believe that she does, but at this rate, they're both just gonna keep pushing each other apart.
Yeah, that's also another problem I have. Again, mind you, I'm very in touch with my emotions, but I usually try to steer my ship on an even keel. And what I'm getting at is David is in touch with his emotions, which means he's not. I guess it would be the typical man kind of deal. Men won't admit they're in touch with their emotions, but most of them don't have control of it. But here's the thing. The fact that he has emotions tells me both partners still love each other. It's
Yep.
not a question. There is love between the two.
I told George, I said sometimes it's like me and George got that Ike and Tina love, and I believe it's no. Well, what's that got to do? Got to do with it? Got to do with it?
Okay.
No,
So-
I mean that in a good way. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes there's so much passion that the actual arguments
La pasión.
is really, really heavy duty.
The fire.
And I still think there is fire, but understand the more that'll go back and forth is really bad. And where I'm feeling in a lesson to be learned is that a lot of guys are coming here with medical conditions. They're coming here with no plans. I just heard another couple that was under 40 years old. They came here. They had less than 10,000 in their bank account, and it's already been spent in the last year. And they're not even living here on. Yeah, they spent all 10 grand of that money. I don't know, traveling maybe. They do travel to a lot of their. That's what they do. They call themselves. They work online, and and so there's a lesson to be learned that if you don't have the money for the medical, if you don't have the proper insurance, insurance isn't cheap, guys, and a lot of it is only they call it catastrophic. Basically, after a certain age, if you have any medical conditions, they won't cover you guys, and it's going to be hundreds of dollars a month. It could be between $600 and $700. And so all of this can get expensive. And David apparently does not have anything. I would assume that he doesn't have the savings at this point, or he would be getting local treatment.
He's been flying back and forth. That'll deplete you fast.
Well, he had to wait for his check. He already said that on air.
Mhm.
He already said
Yeah.
on air he had to wait. So he obviously didn't use his savings to go. So, but whatever was there is depleted. All bridges, that always sounds like that's in the house, is depleted, and all bridges are burned with family members there, and it's a big lesson to be learned for people for sure.
Now, also, the problem I have with both videos, and I say both because they go hand in hand to each other. In the latest video, we have Rose stating in the very end, she says that, I'm gonna paraphrase her because just to make it short and quick. She's basically saying, well, Dave, it looks like this is what you want. I guess you want me to move on, and I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Again, I'm paraphrasing. So that's what Rose said in the latest video. And now you're like, okay, what's the problem with that? My problem is the man can barely walk. The man obviously was deemed by authorities that he shouldn't be traveling alone. Okay, they even says, is there anybody who can like pick up, Mr. Campbell over here? Okay, yet he's at the airport, want to fly back home. Does that sound like a guy who wants to move on? Does that sound like a guy who wants his wife to move on? And that's the problem I have with both videos. It's not because, again, I'm not attacking anybody. Now, David and Rose, if you're listening to me, both of you still love each other, and it shows. So get rid of whatever baggage you have against each other. Again, I get it. Relationships are tough. Making them last long is tougher. Again, it's like dating. Dating is easy. Picking up men or women is easy. Problem is keeping them as partners. That's the real job. Work is at. That's when you have your work cut out for you. And the problem we have in the society today, and the problem you have that a lot of expats come to the Philippines, is they're looking for a docile Filipino or Filipina. You're not looking for a slave. You're looking for a partner. You know what I'm saying? If your partner doesn't give you beef at all, there's a problem. Okay? And I'm just being honest here. Okay? And some of you will agree. Half of you will agree. Half of you won't. Because again, it's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And everybody, again, feel free. Go ahead. Roast me if you will. But that is my opinion. And again, David and Rose, I am not attacking you. I'm just letting you guys know. Both of you still love each other, and it shows. Don't let it go to waste. Okay. Let me read down here. Neil says, Black Grandpa, I have my own house with my fiance, and still $600 is not possible. Electricity is not cheap. I have one aircon, and it's 10K pesos or higher. He's not. Yeah, that's about the average cost on AC, and that's not running 24/7. Ooh, what's this?
Orange.
Oh, orange. This is actually, yeah, this is Tropicana orange. No, this is Liberty. It's actually like a tea shop place, but they have these really nifty mason jar glasses.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
The Tang stuff.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, no. And again, I guess, do you have anything to add to the David and Rose thing before we move on to the $600 budget?
Like I said, I read what Smoothly had pinned the statement. He would know for sure. The family would know. Other people.
Oh, it's really tangy.
Well, that's the actual. Sorry, I said it was Tang, but it's a Tropicana, so it tastes different.
Yeah.
It's a Tropicana, not the Tang. So, I don't know. I just wish they would. That would be like every one of our vlogs being all about what goes down between us or only my medical conditions. That does wear old. We wish the success for Rose on her channel, but eventually it'll be like beating a dead horse, whether they feel David's right, whether they feel Rose is right. And I'm going to tell you right now from experience in the Philippines and being here for a couple years, they're going to side with Rose all day long. And
Oh,
they're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
that because it's called Symphonies. That's hence why I made that Symphonies t-shirt, guys, because guys are definitely going to feel for her more than they are for David. I feel for David and I feel for Rose because I'm married to a Filipino and I see the suffering of the people every day at hand. And I feel for David because there's also expats here that get stranded here. Their checks run out. They don't have any more savings. They don't have medical. There's no way to live permanently in the US once you've sold everything and you come here and you make that decision. And especially at a certain age, as far as going back and getting a job and all that. And with David being disabled, the only thing he can do is go into a home. And I was going to go through some comments, but I really don't think, I mean, everybody's been through David and Rose's comments and they seem to be, you know, pretty much the same thing. It all seems to be a lot of sympathy, you know, for her or, you know, do something else with your vlog. They're kind, you could see where it's just wearing thin on them as far as it all being about that situation and not what it used to be, you know. Him talking a little bit about living there, her talking about her gardening and cooking and them together and them as a couple, because that's what people wanted to see. And then it just turned to a scorched earth situation. And like I said, just went kind of back and forth. You know, when I seen the rest of her video today, and again, I heard her saying that the money's running out and I'll be all right for another month and all that. I was like, she just said she was okay to people. She just said that everything was going to be okay. And it looks like reality is setting in. She did a family video saying, oh, come back, Uncle David. We miss you, Uncle David. And they did all of that. And it's, I don't know. I just really wish them the best, the both of them. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he's medically has the ability to fly, and they're definitely not going to give her an emergency visa to go get him.
Well, that, and again, until he gets well and or have somebody escort him from the US to the Philippines, he's pretty much stuck there. And I mean, it's not, again, you know, I hope David, I hope and pray that you get better. Really, I do. And again, maybe one day you'll come home, maybe next month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be great.
So we're gonna talk about what Neil just mentioned again about this guy living off $600. Now,
Hey, Mark.
I'm gonna go rewind here a little bit.
Well, maybe I should go down and address before we move on to the next subject some
Yeah.
of the things in the room.
Well, they'll come back on again
What do you mean?
once we go down the line. I was just gonna say, let's hit the.
Okay. That's
No, I
fine.
mean we don't have to.
Did you see where my bottle of water went? No.
Oh,
I think this will hit the floor down here. Can you see it?
no.
Okay. My water's gone. Maybe the cat's knocked it the other way. Both cats are up there.
I probably took it over there.
No, something just hit the floor. I think the cats knocked it back there when they laid down. So
Oh, yeah, there's.
that was you, Cookie Face. Yeah, because my was that actually leaking?
Well, it was standing up.
Oh.
No, go ahead. What was someone you were going to say?
Oh, well, that's okay. I guess you
No.
go down the wrong. We're not going to make it. to
Okay,
the-
so-
I would
No.
address. Mr. Fluffy further down said at this point, Rose is on a roller coaster, waiting to see which way David decides to roll her over. Well, that's a good statement. She might as well use YouTube. She is stuck in a situation, is up to David. Yes and no. I mean, you still wouldn't put those things on there. I get the drama and bringing things out. Like I told George, you know, we don't hide that there is drama in our life. Okay. But I don't know. It's a, and then he said, place your bets now. I'm putting my money on David landing in the Philippines. Well, that's, yeah. So not sure on that.
Yeah, just real quick. Hey Mark, how you doing?
Hey,
Mark Goldberg's here. Says I agree with Heidi. He's not coming back. He's not
Anytime
well.
soon.
He's not going to be well. She will wind up poor again and all around. Oh dang.
Well, there are things that she could still possibly do. One, if the car is paid for, I would definitely consider doing something with the vehicle if it's in her name or has the ability to. I mean, there's a few things she can start to do. Down to if that house costs, she said she could live with her family and be with her family. That's another actual option. Does she really want to? Who actually knows, you know, where she is? She has her son's college, but I would redirect my YouTube channel at this point. I would, I don't know. I think she's at that point, you know, where the same thing about David all the time and their stuff back and forth, and that she's basing it on updating people and all that. I would be doing stuff in between. All of her videos have been about David. You know, she's not doing a whole bunch in between her videos. I would start that to get her YouTube channel going. I'd be out. She's, you know, I'd be in the market showing things and family and the rice fields. And there's a lot she can actually do. She's still vibrant, young. I would be using all of her abilities at this point for sure.
Yeah.
Good morning, Kay Dallas.
Kay Dallas, good morning. Mr. Flowey says, place your bets now. I put my money on David landing the Philippines.
Did you?
No,
were you there yet?
No, we're not. No, I agree with you, Mr. Fluffy. Like I said, he'll. My guess, probably at least.
Hey, California.
At least next month he'll be back. Yes. No, the reason why is because I have to change. You know, we're not talking about Campbell's having a $600 budget. It's about somebody else. We're gonna cover the Campbells and then go into the budget. And that's where I was getting at. Yeah.
No, there are two things that we're covering. The other one is an expat nearby here where we're living that says he's built a house for 5,000 USD, and he also says he's living on 600 a month. He also has a YouTube channel, and we want to discuss that that's a 1 in a million situation, that an expat can do that. We haven't heard a $600 budget in years actually around here. There's only a few that have attempted it, and they're usually living in a small place, all utilities paid, with no traveling, no frills, just some candy and Snicker bars and chicken on the occasion, and that's not much of a life the guy had. So the guy travels and does a bunch of things, and a lot of people had messaged us about that story, and I'm like, is it doable? Yes and no. We don't. I would say no. Don't even attempt it. So, but. You're just reading through them.
Yeah.
And Night 12 said I side with Rose 100%, and that's understandable. There, like I said, there's Camp Rose and Camp David, and there are some that root for them both. And me and George 100% root for the both of them. It's just a warning and it's a warning to expats is what this is also really about, is that coming here with no medical, no insurance, no extra money, and an unstable marriage is just not a good ideal. It's, you know, the ideal of all of it working out, and you 100% cannot rely on your spouse to be your only caregiver. When she said, and quote unquote, she said that they were fighting like right after they got married. Remember, she said there were problems before they got married. There were problems after they got married. So there was already stuff going on before they even got married. She said that a while back.
Right.
That came from her mouth, that there's been problems since they've been married. And so the fact they've been together for, many years now, and things are getting worse. They attempted a caretaker. They've attempted to have her family take care of them. I get it. I'm cantankerous all the time. There are many days that I don't feel good, and It's not easy being a caretaker with somebody or being with somebody that's sick. It's hard to have. Oh, it's hard to actually see somebody sick too. It's not easy on either side. I don't like to see when George is sick. He doesn't like to see when I'm sick. Then there's the pressure of everything else. David used to be able to do a lot of things. I'm kind of in that same boat, is that I miss being able to do all of that. And I was very independent. And something tells me David used to be an independent person. And now he's having to rely on a bunch of people that'll bring in more issues. It doesn't make it right to call names. Something tells me the way we've seen them go on air, they probably are calling each other names, possibly. It's anything is possible. So
The Papa Smurf of the OG. Some things just need to be kept private. W says, I wouldn't watch the channel. It's depressing. Who wants to see someone struggling, laying in bed, trying to sit up? Aw, W.
that is for some people. Good morning or good afternoon, Mr. Keith Jenkins. King salute. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Keith.
That. We will put that towards the Christmas fund. We appreciate it. We're actually, a real quick update, being as we have the people in the room, is that we will be doing a Christmas for a couple different families as we do every year. So that's hence the membership we have at that level. We started a Christmas one, and so we will put that towards that and the cat funds. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna go to these families' homes, knock on their door, and say Merry Christmas, and then leave.
And collect $5 from them for making a personal appearance, right?
Exactly.
Give them an autograph.
Exactly.
Strike a
I
pose.
have graced you with my presence.
You better calm down there, white boy George.
I'm joking, obviously.
Wow.
But anyway,
My hair. No. Aw, look at the kitties. It looks like, oh, look, candy corn heaven. You see her? Oh, you guys can actually see her a little bit. See them? That's both of them here laying on each other. They're actually being pretty sweet right now.
yeah.
Kind of like when George sleeps. That's the only time he was really extra sweet.
Black Grandpa says thirsty, desperate expats will be throwing money at Rose to get a piece of her.
And that's okay. I mean, it's okay. And I get using all of that, and the guys that want to help, like I said, the Rafina syndrome, or how that actually goes on. And that's fine. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you just hating Heidi because you're a big fluffy white woman over there and blah, blah. You just hating because no, not really. I now see that Rose and her son are going to be in a bad way, and it does hurt my heart. And I have cried over this situation, and I've cried over David because the last few months have been really rough for me medically. And so there's a big lesson to be learned. And, you know, God bless anybody that helps either of them. And it takes a big heart to care and watch. But sadly, and all of you are just kidding yourselves if you're not watching it for the drama or watching us today. This isn't our normal room. And it's because they want to see what everybody's going to talk about there. That was a sad deal. That is really, really, yeah. And then she left the final, like I said, what did she say at the very end? She actually turned back on the camera and was personally talking to David. And what was it she said?
Well, she said, I guess this is what you want, David. I guess I'm going to have to move on without you.
Pretty much. It sounded like I'm moving on. And she pretty much, to me, indicated that, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of accusations in between the line there.
Okay, to add to the thing, I wasn't going to mention this, but remember that everybody has a self-destruct side. And I don't mean this in a bad way when it comes to David. What I'm getting at is there's a point in time when you will come across your life where you ask yourself, and I say self-destruct because most people, most of the time you forget your partner doesn't think that way. There's a point in time where you ask yourself, and I'm sure everybody in this room have asked themselves who's been in a real relationship, am I making our relationship, our lives better, or am I making it worse? Am I a burden? Am I a liability or am I an asset? So be aware that I'm aware that Campbell's aware that he is not right now in good health. And if I were David,
You think he moved over there
to break, okay, I'm not saying this is what he's doing, but if I can see the side of David where, you know what, I'm just dragging Rose down. Maybe she's better off without me.
And you're right. Remember what I was discussing? Because I've been really ill the last few months, and I told George, I said, I don't like when you have to do things, and I want to do this and that, but I definitely wouldn't want to be around you if you were my sole caretaker. I'd want to hide somewhere. You know how cats and animals go off somewhere to be alone when they pass away and diminish? I think David could be possibly doing the
Correct.
same thing.
And
He's probably
he
got
could be
heart
in that
issues.
mode right now.
Mhm.
But again, the
Maybe
fact
he's
that
pushing her away.
yeah, exactly. Maybe he's pushing her away. But the
Subconsciously,
fact
yeah.
that he again tried to get back tells you the love is really there. And
He
that's
still
why I
wants
said
back.
earlier.
Yeah, I don't think
He
it's
wants
out of-
back. But that's why I ask again, David Rose, if you're watching this, the love is there. Now, whether you guys can see it or not, I'm talking to David and Rose. Whether you, David, or you, Rose, can't see or not, you guys still love each other. And Dave, again, if you're watching this, if that's what you're doing, if you think that you're sparing Rose from her taking care of you, let her decide that. That's her
Yeah,
choice.
she's asking you back or vice versa. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Freezing, let's see. Keith Jenkins further said, my ex was a Panay. That was a nightmare. Sarah says, sounds like to me like Rose is setting a solid case for annulment. Is she stopped talking about him, he'd fade away, as he said, is a bridge burner and can't even change his phone. So, yeah, so I guess she blocked him at some point. There was a bunch of stuff about her being blocked, not able to get a hold of him and different things. Yeah, he's definitely possibly burning bridges for multiple reasons. California Oscar says you got to remember Filipinos are like soap operas and drama and take breakups hard, and David and his wife seem to be in that world. So yes, so it's you guys are silly. I'm silly kids.
Chosen One says Rose got body, but I'm not living in no province. Now take that to heart. I mean, I know Chosen One is actually a very happy guy. He travels to Philippines and everything, and that tells you something. A lot of expats aren't aware of.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's not. Be aware that YouTube glamorizes everything, even if it's not glamorous.
Hey, maybe that's what we ought to do is called the score. Maybe we ought to do a scoring system and make up some sort of point system, kind of like Mike did.
No.
And we do some sort of score and say, okay, she lives in the province,
Oh.
minus 19.
Right.
Oh, no, I'm not talking
No.
about that.
I see what you mean.
He's talking about a book that I was going to write, like
pluses
Stephen
and minuses,
King.
pros and cons.
I got a good Stephen King idea
with
for a
your partner, future partner. Yeah.
it's kind of like mixed between this AI thing and everything, and I was going to call it the score too. But what if you do one for the score and then say, okay, there's no hospital nearby? Maybe we'll come up with that. I mean, if I can get George to participate after I feed him his is it Saturday or Sunday? It's Saturday. I was thinking today was Sunday. So, you don't get your breakfast tomorrow. You get Sunday brunch after you go to church.
Home wrecker. Rose must have been a real looker when she was 20.
No, I was gonna say we could do the score thing after you have your brunch thing, and then I said Sunday after church, and so.
Well, technically I could generate that photo, but Rose would basically be look the same, somewhat, just slightly younger. Because at 20, she already has her look already. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Raymond says,
photo. I really thought that was really good.
Right. Raymond, my mom was very embarrassing when I was younger. She didn't care where I was.
Hey, hey, maybe we'll give you that $5 for a raise early Christmas bonus. You can bonus yourself. You can bone yourself there, babe.
Right. The Papa Smurf for the OG says, "Whose bed has your boots been under?" It's a song, right? Rose is just trying to survive. David has a mouth.
Yep.
He attacked me on Rose post, and I gave it back to him. He has no respect for nobody.
I think he's very upset. And actually honest on both sides for good reasons, because people, when you're in the YouTube world, good or bad, no matter you're perfectly good or whether you do like what I do where I strike out, you're always going to have somebody when you're good and when you're on that side actually going back and forth with you. Then and I'm not saying that you are, I'm saying there are trolls, Papa Smurf, that will actually come through, and they already admitted it, both him and Rose, where people were coming through for a long time. Actually, and I've read through their messages when we've been watching them now for over 2-3 years now, and they've been at Rose since the beginning, right in front of them. And then people went back and forth about the way she dressed. Then they tried to say David did that. Then they tried to say Rose did that. And then it's just kind of gone from there. And I hate to say it, I don't blame it when he snaps back. He's probably, I think they said the channel was probably not the best thing for them to do as a couple, with the caretaking, long hours and all that, but it might have been in the beginning for financial reasons to help out, or it's kind of hard saying.
Oh, speaking of channel, I mean this with all my heart, and this, again, chosen one, that's up to you whether you take heed to my advice or not. Don't start a YouTube channel. And I don't mean it,
for couples.
I'm not being hypocritical. You have no clue, if you have a relationship, how much tension that brings.
Now, maybe with him being single, as long as he isn't getting married, as long as he's not bringing his girlfriend on there later or whatever. But if you're a married couple, it can cause issues.
Well, as long as you're in a relationship, because let's say you have a girlfriend, the
she's not gonna
subjects you
wanna
may
be
be talking about, or the
Putting her on camera?
girls you interview on camera can cause problems to the relationship.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. You have to have a very strong stomach, and then you have your your special friends that send you hate spews, whatever. It's not for everybody.
Mhm. No, that deal going on with Overstay Road can be a real deal, and I'm sure he's had some trolls, because Overstay Road definitely states what he wants to state, because he doesn't care if he loses his monetization. He says what he wants to on his channel. So I've heard everything on his channel, and I'm sure he's had trolls because he does that wifey thing where he brings on multiple women and says he has wifey 2, wifey 3, and he brought his ex back, the mother of his child, and all of them were at Thanksgiving. He got a bunch of flack for all of that, and I think he does it on purpose to start the drama. And then he comes back around and recently said there's a bunch of trolls making threats against his family. Then it turns out that I guess it's some guy that sent money to her sister, and he went back and forth. I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense why that person's actually after him, but it shouldn't involve him and his current family. It's just, the trolls are a real thing. It really is. It's how you handle that. But sometimes, for me and George, and I know it was for David and Rose, we actually make plans. We plan our lives. We try to stay consistent. We used to do a lot more videos that took a lot of editing. We weren't getting the numbers for that. It was better just to keep it real and go live and be off the top of our head. But that still takes planning, and it still takes, a lot, to actually run the channel. And sometimes there's disagreements on what to do, and it gets to be a headache. So.
Yeah. Carl Butt says, "Hi, and George. That's why we love you too, because you both stand on the truth. Love it. Thank you so much, Carl." Hi, this is Dave. Greetings from Santa Rita, Pampanga, George and Heidi. Santa Rita. Santa Rita is a bit of ways from here. We're in Mabalacat. Right after Mabalacat would be Balibago area, Mabalañas, or basically Angeles City. And after Angeles City would be San Fernando, and after San Fernando would be Bacolor. I'm talking about cities here. So it's Mabalacat, Angeles, Bacolor, and then after Bacolor is Saint Santa Rita. So you're a good.
Nice kitties. They're so cute.
It's really not that far. It's like about an hour and a half. But again, it's not about that hour and a half. It's not because it's far. It's because of the traffic. It's not really.
Homewrecker, I'm going to reiterate on you saying can't blame Rose for trying to survive. And that is true because me and George have discussed, and you guys have heard us discuss about what happens if George passes away, family history of stroke and other medical conditions. My family back in the U.S., people have asked in private, am I going to stay here? And the answer is yes, I'm going to stay here. But then we'll present another list of issues like expenses. At that point, of course, we wouldn't be doing the YouTube channel, which is a little extra bonus money. And would I actually stay here? And by that time, it's probably going to be way more expensive. Cost is going up in the Philippines, guys. It's not as cheap as what it used to be to live here, especially if you like any Western amenities. And the problem comes down to, like Rose. What if she doesn't have the car? I mean, I know she got around before and took care of business and all that. It'd be the same with me. It would be a struggle for me. And, I would still need George for things. I'm going to miss him and all of that, but I get the struggle and the hustle. I've been a single mother. I've been homeless twice. The struggle was real for me. And raising two kids was not actually easy. So I get it. So I really feel for her in that manner of being a caregiver. And for that, because for many years I was a nurse. And so it wasn't, these are people in a wheelchair that I literally did full care for one-on-one in homes also. So it's, when you're the sole caregiver doing everything, it's pretty rough. So.
Yeah. Papa Smurf OG says, who travels with no clothes? He's still wearing his hospital gown.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Black Grandpa says, David says all the time in their videos that she is the meanest person he has been with, but she is nice on camera. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes, and I've seen her where she's acted out on camera. Unfortunately, there has been times. So she seems like a very nice person, yes. But like George said, there are times I push his buttons all the time. Amen to that. I've seen George has popped off. He never used to be like that. But I do push his buttons. And I get it, and it could be the same thing. We've seen her be cantankerous. As a matter of fact, a few times she's yelled at him while she's been in her own lives. When it was just her, she yelled back at him. They went back and forth. You could tell there's definitely something going on. So.
Yeah. Joseph Relaford says, that thumbnail looks like they're living in the States. David looks well in that thumbnail. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And actually, Calvin was here earlier.
Hey, Rafina seems like a nice person too.
Yeah. Sunshine Shoulder says, Calvin says, that thumbnail is brilliant.
Hey, George.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Rafina you.
That, that doesn't sound right considering it sounds like some medication that people misuse.
Oh, you mean like in Shameless?
Well.
Oh, by the way, she came back. The sister came back. And she had like that, and she chased him around the house. Now he's in jail for 10 years. The other kid. Like, what the heck? It's crazy. Shameless is a crazy show.
Papa Smurf OG says, David family wants no part. Oh, you're talking about the one in the U.S.
Yeah.
David family wants no part of him anymore. His own family said it on post. Yes. It was his cousin.
Yeah, we've seen that. They made a few more accusations too of prior party favors and other things that he had done in the past. We don't, just always keep in mind, and I want people to keep that also in an open mind. A lot of these accounts are created by trolls that come into other vloggers' accounts and claim to be family members. Unless you guys personally video chat and get proof by ID that these are who these people are, they will go in there and do that and say things. We've had them where they've come into our room claiming to be other people and saying it's crazy. If you guys are, I would just take everything also with a grain of salt, everything.
Right. So actually, the next comment is one of the reasons why I'm against Rose saying, "Oh, he got checked in a mental hospital," because it sends the wrong message. And what I'm getting at is, yeah, you look pretty rough. He said in the very same voice, "I can act right in order to board the plane." So he's not crazy. She even said, "David's not crazy." I don't know. That's the problem I have too. That's why I did like, she didn't have to say he went to a mental hospital, because you can go to a mental hospital for a lot of things, and it doesn't mean you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm against that vernacular, because it plants the wrong idea.
He could have had party favors and alcohol that made him act out, and he could have said out loud after he was drunk that blah blah blah, and then they would put him in there.
And be aware, a crazy person can say crazy things, and they can throw you there. You know what I'm saying?
But here's another thing: we're not 100% sure what his full diagnosis is.
Right.
We don't know if something happened and he's got other issues. But usually, when people are that sick, most end up with other mental disorders, depression. There could be a lot of things going on with him. So we're not 1,000% sure. But unless you actually hear it from David and he wants that to be posted, like I've already said, I have high anxiety. As a kid, I had it, and this and that. I told you guys about, my mental issues. It doesn't mean that David wanted the world to know, which is also putting a lot more out there about his medical condition. Maybe he didn't want
right. And like I said, a lot of people go to mental facilities, but they're not crazy. You don't have to be crazy to get treatment for anything from a facility like that. Right. Also, be aware that that's not the reason why David can't board a plane. He can't board a plane because he should be able to basically get up and get out of his get into his wheelchair by himself, kind of deal, because it's just the way the airlines do it. You know what I'm saying? Either you have somebody there with you to physically assist you, or you can't.
And that's like the guy that we'll probably cover. We might do a live tomorrow that somebody just covered the guy and he's trying to help him and everything, which is a problem in itself. You can't collect funds for people. You can't announce that you're helping people on a YouTube channel. There's a lot of legalities to starting a YouTube channel. I mean, you're supposed to have a business license. You're supposed to pay taxes when you live here long term. And that's not back to the U.S. And you can't collect as a charity or act as a charity, because a few vloggers in the last few years have been actually taken down because they actually collected and gave, and you have to get permits for all that. So the fact that, if you're helping a couple neighborhood kids like us and we're using our own personal money to do it, it's different. When you announce you're collecting for somebody and then you're announcing you're paying for all this stuff and doing that could become an issue in itself. But this guy actually is trying to help this guy go back. And there's a slew of things that are going to happen. And when he arrives, you have to have the ability to get on that airplane, is what I wanted to get around to. And the man has a lot of medical conditions. So even if he possibly gets a clearance, they buy his ticket, and the local Filipino doctor in that area, by the way, he's in a small town. If they clear him, it doesn't mean that he's going to be that they'll clear him at the airport.
Right.
Even with the doctor's note, if they see the man stumbling down the aisle.
Well, his doctor's note
really
doesn't count.
No, the doctor's note will no longer count at that point, because the guy can barely see. And if he can't see, the guy doesn't even know how he's going to make a phone call to get inside the hospital from the airport. That means he's also got mental problems himself already. He's got there's a lot going on with this older gentleman. And so it doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen. And so sadly, that'll probably be our coverage tomorrow, is on this gentleman. And it's like a lesson to be learned also about, That's a big lesson to learn on him too.
Yeah. Hi, this is Dave says Rose
Hey,
is
Dave.
simply pandering to her viewers and subscribers. She's exploiting their marriage and ongoing drama for monetary gains. And personally, this makes her look bad.
And it's the same. We could actually say the same with us. If you guys, you know, believe me, I think every channel has that option to exploit. Could you imagine if you seen the real Old Dog? And I'm not saying things are bad with Old Dog and Baby May, but they don't put all their personal business out there. They don't put, I'm sure like a normal couple, they have their own fights. He's actually said that there were a lot of disagreements at the beginning of their relationship and that they have their things. He said that on air before. It'd be like us if we put every single thing out there. We're going through a lot of different things. We have our bad days, we have our good days. But could you imagine the drama that would start? I mean, I would agree that she's actually doing that. Could we do that and draw those numbers? Probably. That's all I'm saying is I think a lot of couples could do that, but they're not doing that. Yeah. So it's
Yeah. Papa Smurf says that David suffered a stroke a few years ago. His health has gone bad because he does not care about his health. He said that himself. He's ready to go home. No, it's not that he doesn't care about his health, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have been in the hospital in the first place. But be aware that it's not that he doesn't care about his health. He just doesn't take care of himself. Not necessarily. It doesn't
And it's
mean
harder than you guys think. That's like me. I keep talking about I'm going to give up the sugar and I'm going to do this and that we're not going to order, like the McDonald's, like we usually order or go out at least once a week. And it's like a treat for us and stuff. And I tell George, it's like, yeah, it's a rough day. I've got to lay down and take a nap. I don't think I'm going to be able to cook. And George gets busy taking care of the cats, or he's got to go running and do something. It's like, well, let's go ahead and order. So I get there's not one person that's in this room now that really it's a known fact that people don't stick to diets. If they say they're going to quit, they usually don't quit. These are hard things. To ask him to quit or cut back, I get that. I am an ex-smoker myself, and it wasn't easy. And when I used to have a drink after I had not smoked in years, what happened, George? I smoked a cigarette in front of
Right.
people. So it's habits. Those habits are hard to break. Him giving up certain things is a rough thing. It's easier said than done situation. I should be doing the same thing too, but I
well.
mean, I'm not exactly cutting out on the sugar.
Yeah, let's all be honest with each other. We all care about our health, right? But how many of you don't have any salt whatsoever or sugar whatsoever? Odds are, I would say out of the
Or
150,
some don't have to
yeah.
diet, or they don't have to whatever to stay halfway healthy. And I get that what we do has affected our health. It could be years of, and I'm not sure what caused David's stroke. It could be years of drinking. It could be years of party favors. It could be years of a hard life of working himself to death and stress. It could be any of the above. It could just be that he's an outright, allegedly asshole, mean old Grinch like, and it just caused him to have a stroke.
And
Who
and
knows?
honestly,
Only stress, self stress is a real thing.
yeah,
people.
forget Dave. I'm pretty sure there are complete vegetarians or vegans out there who had strokes.
Well, yes, of course.
My
Yeah.
point being is,
Perfect athlete to
at
drop.
his age,
I
I
think-
believe Dave is at that stage. You know what? I'm gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
I might as well enjoy my bacon.
Yeah, hey, babe, I taught you well, didn't I? That's what I said. I said,
You know
you
what I
got to
mean? It
start
doesn't
living
mean,
a little
like I
bit.
said, in the room, out of 150 people, out of 160
It
people,
doesn't mean
I would say probably less than 10 don't eat salt or sugar.
all I know is it's one thing. Okay, so here's the thing that I get tired of is, okay, at this point, yes, David should cut back on his smoking and what he actually eats. Hey, Mark Richards is in the house and Anthony King is in the house. Hey. It's one thing to say that you're actually going to do it, and it's another, when you're actually going to actually do it. And I've said a dozen times that I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to get rid of these things. But guys, it isn't easy. And especially since I've been here in the Philippines, I have things, it's a whole different life when you come to live here. And that may be what he's using to get by. So is it an excuse for if he's having any drinks or all of that because he's living in the Philippines? No, it's not. But maybe he's looking for some comfort somewhere else. And it's rough when all of a sudden you're limited. Like me, I can no longer go for full walks anymore. I can no longer do even, I used to be able to clean from morning to night, do everything, laundry, full household. I can't do that. By noon, I'm out like a light. I can barely even move by midday. And so it's very frustrating. And I think that them are his vices now. And it doesn't make it right, but I don't know. It's rough. You know, you have to walk a mile in Rose's shoes. You have to walk a mile in David's shoes. And most of you say, oh, I understand. I understand. No, until it actually happens, like me. I've been warned for years that because of my flat feet and the jobs that I've had and the weight gain and all of that, that eventually my knees would go out. And that day actually came. But I didn't expect on top of that to have lupus. I didn't expect to have, you know, skin cancer and be put on steroids all the time, which has been like playing hectic.
Well, that's bad for you too.
Well, yeah, the steroids in itself, it's bad for you. What are you talking about?
I don't take steroids though.
Walk smash, bad for you.
Oh,
Affects your health. Bad.
yeah, it does.
They did catch on
Silent
to that.
Bill, you're messed up. David has no power. No boom for Rose, except from neighbor. You ain't right, bro.
I missed that one. Thank you.
Yes. You ain't right. Carl Butt says,
Actually, we received a message that said that
Oh,
alleged.
no.
Oh, you're talking about the alleged thing about Rose's alleged affair?
alleged.
It was an alleged thing, and we're not saying
It's not coming
true.
from us, but
No, and it's been seen in a few places, and I'm like, that's probably absolute rubbish. But they said that she's the one that's been having the affair the whole time when she goes on her jogs. Again, troll. It's a troll that sends the message. It's trolls that put the messages in the room. It's like celebrities when stuff comes up. Some of them start their own rumors and pay people to do it, and then most of the time it's just not true. So
Carl Butts, George, have Heidi make you spam lumpia. The taste and flavor will blow your mind.
cool.
If I skip certain comments most of the time because we already addressed it already. Papa Smurf says David called an idiot on the live stream while talking to LVP. Oh, LAPD. The cops told him you don't need to talk that way. Then he ends up blocking Rose. It's crazy. Where's the beef? Says Layoff Rose.
Right.
All right. Mr. Fluffy says never said David is okay, but he is using everyone and rejecting everything people do. Joseph Ralford says George is politically correct.
He's probably like a caged rat in a corner, and I feel for that. He's at this point, David doesn't have the abilities. It doesn't mean that he has to lay down and listen to every single person. I mean, think about that with all things coming in all direction. He more than likely is dying and has a lot of medical conditions. His family's rejecting him. He feels like rejection's coming from his household. The doctors are telling him one thing, get rid of your smoking, cut down this, and he probably does really good for a few days and then explodes. So right now, it may be scorched earth within his own life. He might just be, that could be why he went to the casino. He might be drinking. He might be this. He might be that. There's a lot going on for David, too, that we don't know. The same with Rose. I'm sure she's scared right now. And I believe in my heart of hearts, she is really worried about him, but they have to find a way to connect. But those last words were kind of haunting when she says, I've got to move on with my life. And that sounded pretty much what it is. She's probably got 101 offers right now from guys that are ready to swoop in, move in his house and drive that car. I'm sure there's Filipinos and otherwise, you know, she's a beautiful woman. But David, I am sure right now feels like a caged rat, and I've been there and I know what that's like. And I think he does want to get back here, but I don't think he will come back here. Maybe he just both doesn't have the ability. And
Right. Just to clarify again, the doctors know when I said that doesn't count. What we meant was it's not enough to get you on board. Okay. And again, like Papa Smurf says,
Yeah,
well,
you
I'm a
gotta
pilot. In
go.
order for David to fly back to Rose, he would need a medical clearance from his doctor saying he's good to fly. The airline's not taking liability in case something will happen. Even if you have that piece of paper, what we said is it's not enough to get on board.
Yeah, like this older gentleman, the local doctor's getting ready to certify that he can. But right now, sitting in his house, he doesn't look like he has the ability. He can't even get off the chair. So they may say he's okay and this and that's not going to happen. But if the man can't find his way to the bathroom because he can't see and he's almost legally blind, the stewardess aren't going to
They're
go
still
through
not
all
gonna
that and watch him.
not without an escort.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like David, like I said, like if he had somebody and he has that paper, then he's gold. But if he has that paper and nobody with him, he still can't get on that plane. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the paper helps, yes, but it's not enough
Right.
for,
That is true.
be free. Hey, be free. David has gone downhill
Hey,
fast,
hey.
but is playing a game has no winners. He should not have gone to the States without secured medical treatment. Paul Smurf says he did not tell VA he was coming. He just showed up. David was determined as soon as he got off the plane. He went to a car dealer to buy a. Oh, right. Yeah, went out to buy a car. WTF.
Yeah, WTF. Yeah, I heard that. We haven't heard from David on that side, or I believe that was Rose that said that he went to the car lot. We haven't heard from David on that, but that's what she said. Yes. Remember, that is.
Hi, this Dave says, Argentina love resulted in a lot of mental and physical abuse.
That is so true. That is true. Never forget that did happen.
Stephen Wistort says David will be bound in the USA. It's better that he remains to get his medical. He can slowly work things out. Hopefully, Rose is burnout and feel for. Well, yes, that's what he should do. Is he needs to take care of himself long enough for him to actually recover.
Further down, Sarah said an old saying: "If you have loved someone, you will do anything for them, except for love them." Again, that's a good one.
Joe T says not having any kind of savings and financial plan in the Philippines as an expat is a recipe for disaster.
And it happens a lot. That would be the one. If we're going to do a live tomorrow, or it's going to be Monday, that'll be the next one.
Papa Smurf says David belongs in assisted living with 24-hour care. And I said it on their post.
Yes. Which is fine. And that's another thing is that I've been hearing lately other channels and other social media platforms that have gone through and talked about don't even bother coming here because you don't have the financial ability. And that 40-something couple kind of said the same thing. And they kind of said something we kind of said a while back, that some people don't really have some choices. Okay. So in other words, he said that some people, things are getting bad in the US or their country is why they come here. Some people come here for love and they don't have all of the financial backing and they went with their heart and they got here. So that's another reason they had no choice. They came because of love, but never had the money to do it. For us, we came here, and I'm not saying we're not prepared. We're not 1,000% prepared anymore. When we came here, it was because of the pandemic. We lived in Mexico a while. We decided instead of staying back in the U.S. during some things and financially, it would be better for us to go into retirement now than to actually stay where we are. But my husband's a Filipino, and I believe now we get to spend our time together. He doesn't have to work 14-hour days. And so George has his own medical problems. I have my own medical problems, and it was better. But not everybody. It's always like people think that everybody that comes here is 1,000% prepared. Like they've got, $500,000 in the bank. They've got 2 or 3 incomes. I would say that's 1%, 2% of the people that come here fully actually, what was that?
Cats, kittens.
That actually come here prepared, guys. So, when I see things like, he belongs in there and all of that, David's condition has slowly deteriorated. He had more ability to take care of himself in the beginning,
Well,
which he no longer has.
yeah, and that actually brings up the next line, which again, hi, George and Heidi. Did Rose and David get together when he was already needed caretaking?
Yes. They were together and she knew he needed the caretaking. And she said they were fighting from the beginning too. So all of that was in her presence. And I believe David was an asshole back then too, allegedly.
Right, and that's
I don't think any of that changed.
right. No. It's already there. Now, Joseph actually is kind of.
I said that with love, David.
It's kind of he's kind of clarifying what was stated earlier. No boom for Rose. Joseph Rutherford says, George, you and Heidi have a physical relationship that helps a lot. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense on now that what the other guy said.
Yeah.
Basically saying physical intimacy helps a relationship. Yes.
But in saying that, we have gone through our dry spells. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, like I said, that it happens every day or every other day. And eventually people can't, but that doesn't mean that you turn out like that. Like you literally turn out. I mean, what I'm saying is there's dry spells. It's not the all of all, no matter what other channels or other people say. You have to rely on other things in a marriage, even if it is at the level of loving each other, caring for each other. There's got to be more to it than just the sex. If that's all that people
Well, yeah,
are
of
into,
course,
it's-
but it helps. It helps. Yes. No, I mean any relationship.
no, it actually helps.
Yeah.
And she's still young enough, and he's still a guy. So
Yeah, and remember I said again, do yourself a favor, don't do YouTube. Incon says, why is there so much chismis with the Philippine vloggers? My wife and I thought about going the YouTube route when we moved here last year, but I'm glad we didn't allow the world to see our life. Now, be aware that everything that has been said here, we did not dig up. We did not just,
and like I said,
you know,
there's
they
lessons to
put
be
it out.
learned to it. The Philippines is one of those countries. I never noticed it as much in the U.S. and Mexico as we've seen here. There is just something about the vloggers in the Philippines where it turns into expat wars. It turns into where they talk about each other. There's whole live streams where that's all they actually do is talk about these other vloggers. And we're talking about not in our circle. We're talking about the other vloggers like in BGC and some of these other areas where they're all, I don't know why, but usually when it's if you do the channel properly and you're constantly dealing with trolls and you're constantly dealing with answering people, and like us, we do expat help where we do video chats and we increment our time for it and the topics, and there's a lot going on. It can cause stress in the actual marriage too. And somebody already said it probably a dozen times, it's fractured their marriage on top of it. Yes. And now it seems to be the main thing that she's covering, and I get that too. If I was her and she's talking about she's missing income, if she would just do videos, as I'm to understand, she doesn't have another job, so I don't know why she's not vlogging on a daily basis. She could probably do a vlog and edit it every day and put herself into a schedule like YouTube suggests. We have a YouTube manager, and if that's where her relying source income is, Sharon Lapu Lapu's doing it. That appears to be Sharon's main thing. She said that she's surviving on it. I don't know why, with all that energy, she could be turning it into, being she doesn't have another source. I'd be vlogging on a daily basis to make sure that that's the income. It is a possibility, but she really needs to turn it, into that. I think she can do it if she, puts all that in there.
Yeah. Scott Baird says, George, if you use DC inverter air conditioner, it's much cheaper, Paul. No, we have an inverter. Before we had an inverter, yes, our electric bill would run 10 to 12K, and that's on half day. But since we have the inverter, it only runs up to 6 6 to 7K now, and it runs all day, and it cools down the entire floor. And it's so cold that I actually have to, when I'm sitting in bed,
And it's dropped our
I
electric
have
bill in
like sheets
half.
on over me. Yeah.
Right. So we've dropped the electric bill in half. We have more of the house AC, and that's been, oh wow, it hasn't been a year on that like the e-trike. So they've both been great helps in our life. But we used to have just one room, and it would be at 6, 7 at night because I started turning it on sooner and sooner. So usually about 6, 7 at night. So 12 hours a day, and we were paying about a $12,000 peso. I call it dollar, 12,000 peso electric bill, and now it's under 6,000 pesos, and we keep it on all day. And it's the whole downstairs,
The whole
including
downstairs,
bathroom. Yeah. So it's really great. Yeah.
hmm Mark Goldberg says, my take that Rose is exhausted from all the physical and mental care she had to do for
Sure.
super grumpy Dave.
Right.
Imagine
and
you just
I'm-
spent 5 years lifting, dressing, cleaning, and clipping his toenails.
Yep, yep, that's definite. That's a definite show. Mr. Fluffy understands that also.
Oh, we already did that. Yeah, because we jumped down there. California Oscar says, hello, Heidi and George. How do your face look so great? When I saw you in talk video, you had some large band-aids on your face.
How? I had a small surgery where for my skin cancer be removed from my face. And because I can't keep the band-aids, the bandages weren't meant to be on there all the time. And so I went back in, and so I'm not supposed to keep it on there all the time. And now I just have the butterfly stitches over it right now. So it's still here. You can kind of still see where it's actually healing. So that's how come, California Oscar. I've had skin cancer for a few years, and I have it on my arm, which I actually use a cream to remove it. And so, yes.
California says David is a huge liability, and no airline's going to let him go that long on an airplane in his condition. And she could just run out of that house, get money from that, and sell the car and furniture. Oh, well, it says short. What do you call that? A short solution for a long problem.
And if she hasn't heard from David, and it's hard saying where he's at, he may not be in a facility at all. He could be up in a hotel room paying, and a cheap hotel room in that area of California, if he's not in Vegas no more, it's got to be expensive. 100 would be a ratty hotel probably per night. So he's probably burning through any money that he has, because it's strange that she would mention his food thing again. You know, that he has to get food. No, there's a lot more going on in between that. It would be like driving around, because it's not easy to get around anywhere. So cab rides one way to a short distance is what, probably $15, $20. Every time I would take a Grab or a cab when my car was being repaired, it wasn't cheap years ago. So I'm sure that he's burning through it. And if he's stressed, and it's hard saying what he's adding into the mix, he's going to go broke, and he's going to go broke quick. So, and I think you mentioned it before that if he approved her visa and she came over, he's not going to be able to afford to keep her there, and she's not going to be able to get a job. So how's he going to afford to feed Rose in the U.S. and keep her there? That's going to be a whole new expense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
a lot going
yeah.
on, guys. Even if she got an approval, he'd have to pay for a ticket. And I don't think they have the finances to do that unless her contributors and her what I call the Rose Army then would have to come through and actually assist her. And I'm sure they would, guys, but I think it'd be more of an impossible, of her getting a visa than them staying together or them staying broke up. I don't know which would be more of an impossible, but it's not easy getting a visa, even an emergency one, and they're not going to do that unless he's cooperative.
Yeah.
And right now it sounds like they're getting further and further apart, but yeah,
No.
only they can work that out.
Yeah. Josie F says David is unpredictable.
That's probably true. I got it.
Keith Jenkins says, "Kumusta ka na po? How are you doing?"
Yeah, on the $600 budget, this gentleman, real quick on that, appeared on several other channels, and
Oh.
he's got his own channel.
You want to talk about that?
Which
We're gonna
one?
do another.
Where at?
No.
No, that's fine. We can continue.
Oh, that's up to you. No,
Yeah.
we can. Okay. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the guy was living on $600 a month, has his own YouTube channel. We've seen him traveling to other places. He said for $600 or $700, he added a AC and another room onto the house, 400 square foot house. But the most mind-boggling thing was, what did he say? How he was able to build that?
Right. So here, okay, this is what brought up the subject because it is part of the subject. That's the 600. We're not talking about David having that budget, but somebody else. Now, California says the only people that can afford that $600 budget is a crackhead living out of the beach, mooching on people with a sign saying, "Can you help a brother out?" Right.
That would probably be here too.
Now, the problem we have now, this gentleman again. Oh, where to start? Where to start? Forget my side, even as a foreigner. Okay, as a Filipino, I can disprove this without even flinching. But as a foreigner that's been here, what's your opinion?
I don't think so. Not if he's traveling, not if he's using trikes, bikes, living Western by any means. And this gentleman didn't look like he would be willing to just eat rice and fish and only not go nowhere. I don't care if the place is paid for, but the most mind-boggling thing that I think that he actually said is that the land was free.
Okay,
And
first hole.
people
land
had said
is
there was
free.
holes in his story, allegedly.
All right. So,
That wouldn't be true.
First
true in
off,
any sense.
is there free land in the Philippines? Actually, yes, there is.
There's agricultural land.
Does
for
the government
Filipinos.
give free land to Filipinos? Yes, Filipinos.
Now, is there a way around all that? Like maybe that girlfriend got it and lied to the government, and now she's letting him build on it, and he's just there. Slim chance, very, very, very slim chance. But you can't announce on a channel or on other channels and everything that that's what's happening to allow people to believe that they're going to come here and get that or get the land handed to them. But even if it is, it's still in the girlfriend's name one way or the other, whether the land has actually been bought. And here's another thing. On his channel, it's nowhere to be found. I don't see where this
Okay,
house
yeah, this
existed,
gentleman-
built or not built.
Correct. Has his own channel and
Right.
it doesn't
it's-
exist, right? I mean, I'm saying there's an old saying on the internet, pictures or didn't happen. Now, I'm not saying that like in YouTube, you should air out all your laundry. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But normally when an expat has property, that's the first thing they're going to brag about. Hey, check out the land I have acquired. Now it's not under my name, but guess what? This is how I got it. I got a lease. Oh, hey, this is how I got it. It's my girlfriend's land, but we're living on it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that one.
Oh, and he's not with the girlfriend anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. He's not with the girlfriend. So first, so you're a YouTuber, huh?
They're
How come you never posted about it, bro? No. I'm being overgeneral here. What I'm saying is it's kind of like you're a YouTuber and you made it, you did an achievement. It's an achievement. If you're a gamer, like you have that badge, like, you know, achievement unlocked, owns land, owns property. Oh yeah, you're a YouTuber, right? Wouldn't you brag about that? I would. Heidi would. Anybody in this room would, right? It doesn't even have to be on YouTube. You'll brag about it, like, hey, I just got land.
And he
That-
travels and he eats at
Right.
Western restaurants. I'm kind of staring at that now.
Next to the house. So let's say the land isn't yours, and you're admitting the land isn't yours, because legally a foreigner can't own land in the Philippines. You can, but there are very, very, very short list of a long list of circumstances where you have to pass all of this to own. Bottom line, you really can't. You can, but not really. Now, let's say, okay, let's say the girlfriend is letting you live on her land for free. Okay, let's go in the good
Here, real quick.
graciousness of the Filipinos. Okay, so let's say you're living on the good graciousness of your Filipino, and they're letting you live on the land.
That's the only thing I've seen.
Yeah. Now you claim you built a house on that property, right? Now again, I don't know any homeowner on earth that has a home and never bragged about it. Wouldn't you like, hey, check out my shack. It's a shack. It's a little crap hole, but you know what? It's mine. It's mine. It's a
I
crap hole, but
just-
it's mine. You know what I'm saying? But
Beware of those
Right.
$600.
be careful. Take everything in, and you're like, wait, something's wrong. But he's not saying that either.
There's
He's
nothing
he's not
here
even saying,
showing.
oh, it's a crap hole, but it's mine. No, that's not what he's saying. That's not what I'm saying that where he lives in either. But anybody who owns property or a house, whether it's crappy or not, will brag about
he
it.
travels. That much I can actually see where he travels. And you're not going to be on $600 a month and do a bunch of traveling.
Right.
So maybe he's living out of his savings. Maybe, and then to build the house for $5,000. All we want to say is, being this has been going around in our realm, we're not saying it can't be done. That we will actually say. We're not even going to mention the channel. What we're saying is it's a damn near impossible, and you definitely ain't going to get no free land.
Not free.
So why?
Not free.
So
Can you? Technically, yes, but it'll cost you. But
it's another one of those. Do your due diligence. Understand if somebody says they're living on $1,500 a month, but shows themselves traveling all over the Philippines, they're living off their YouTube money, or they're living on their savings, or both, or there's multiple people in the house paying for things. You know, you actually, like, we literally, when we've done our budget videos, we said, okay, here's our $1,400 a month budget video, and we literally tell you down to the cents, okay, we put $50 away this month. That's all the money we have, and that's pretty much what it is. Bone dry. So right now, that kind of budget, they're doing it so for the numbers, and you have to actually clearly see that there's got to be more to it than just that. A $5,000 house with free land and a $600 budget for a man that travels around is just not realistic. Can it be done? The answer is a possibility. But the vloggers that put it on, it was just to cover their actual live streams or their videos. It's a for him, he's an actual vlogger too. You'll find most of those vloggers that are covering it, these vloggers, kind of like when World Zoom came out, he actually got everybody to put him on to boost his numbers, and he went through and he told a bunch of stories. And I don't know why it is here in the Philippines, it's kind of like you either have the guys that want to look like they're on the cheapest budget or the balling ones. I'm balling today situation. So that's something else we wanted to cover, because both these stories have come up here. Oh, that's your coffee. Has actually come up in the last, and then with the conflict going on, and then this new guy that they're trying to get him home, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to get this guy. You guys remember the Daryl guy that we knew? He's still got homeless issues back in the UK, and when he got back there, he had to establish his residency. I mean, I hope the guy that did this video, and I almost called him out by the name of his channel, that he makes sure he gets all the ducks in a row. Don't get this guy, buy him a ticket, take him up to the airport, and then say that he knows somebody in London or one of his viewers might be able to help situation, and get him there, and then get the guy stuck, because that Daryl guy's been homeless a couple times. Ended up getting kicked out of the apartment that he was helping, and he was an older, frail guy too. So this guy right now that he's trying to help, plus he's collecting money on his behalf, he's taking him food, and he's giving this guy all kinds of hope and everything. And there's a major confusion. Does he have a good passport? Is he really still a U.S. citizen? Is he really been home? And has he not been home in 33 years? Then you can't actually push him off to go back to England when his last home was back in the U.S. And if he has the ability and the visas and a U.S. citizenship, he really would probably better going back to the U.S. and not pushing him to London. And you get involved in that. You know, the Philippine government could be watching, and you're collecting money. And I'm like, man, that's just a hot mess going on. And when's breakfast?
Okay, so let's dial back. Okay, again,
Reflection time.
let's dial back. Heidi's already past everybody. Now, the land.
More coffee, please.
Now, the land, okay. If he claims again that it's free, and for some strange reason that the Filipino
Hey, Mr.
is letting
Sopsa.
him letting him live there for free, the probability is in truth of the matter is odds are it's squatter land, meaning
Oh, that's another thing.
nobody owns it. And I wouldn't say most, a lot of Filipinos, I mean a lot means a lot, I mean, like, I don't want to give a number because I honestly don't know the number, but there are Filipinos
You
that
know
live
several
on land that's not theirs. It's a common thing because, and
And you're gonna lose.
the problem you'll have with that as an expat is it's very common that the Filipina or Filipino will say, oh, you can build a house here. My family's lived here for generations. You can build a house here. But they're not going to tell you, oh, by the way, we don't own the land.
Or watch that trap. I'm gonna throw something in there about a trap. You just said that the Filipinas family says you can.
Well, that's what I said. It's not normally if it's not free. That's what I'm getting. Odds are this is squatter land we're talking about. If they're not collecting anything at all, odds are it's free.
Right.
It's never theirs to begin with. And a lot of Filipinos or Filipinas that quote unquote get a foreigner probably won't tell you that they're living on squatter land for, one, it's embarrassing, and two, why not? Because
Grass is looking greener.
some of them, some Filipinos live on for generations and generations on land they don't
Squatted
own.
land, right.
They're squatters. So, okay, let's
Expat John.
the probability. Yeah, thank you. The probability of this gentleman living on squatter land is really high. Really high because again, the stories, don't line up. They don't match. But squatter land fits that puzzle piece perfectly.
Right.
Now we'll go to his budget. Now, according to this gentleman, he's a perfectionist. I have a lot of problems with that. And according to this gentleman, he's a builder or whatever. His budget is $5,000. I'm going to ask you guys now. $5,000. You really think you will get?
You might get a couple local kids to take some like a milk jug or something and fill it with some sand and some mud and let it harden, and then they're going to build you something with grass and mud and cacao chips or something.
Right. What kind of house? Okay. Now, can you get a decent house for $5,000? Yes, you can. You can. No. I'm not saying it'll look like what Heidi says. No, that's a little extreme. But
yeah, sure. Yeah.
You can.
I know.
But it's not
Hire a couple kids.
It's not what you think.
Child labor.
What I'm saying is, will it be made out of concrete? No, it won't. It'll have a concrete base.
Things are going up, man.
It'll have a concrete base.
I seen a shitty
with
house
wooden
for
poles.
$42,000
Okay.
US.
And
I'm
then
like, I'm not paying $42,000.
It'll have plywood as its walls, or hardy board, or
Oh my God.
okay.
Remember that couple that built their house out of that crap and they spent more than $5,000. And remember what happened? He didn't treat the wood. And then within a few months, the termites got him.
Right. So, no, you can actually have
I
again.
shouldn't laugh,
You
but
can
you're
have
young.
a house built that looks Western, has doors and windows that are Western, have a ceiling that's
He was so
looks
proud.
Western.
Oh, man.
Keyword looks Western.
That was hilarious. I
But
mean, I shouldn't
it's
laugh at
but
this.
it's not Western.
Remember, the kids were like, they were doing this YouTube channel. And I think they mostly did it for bragging rights. And they're probably under 30. And he's like, and then I heard him say, I've never built anything before. So we got this and we got that. It was a Google do-it-yourself project, right? And he didn't treat the wood, man.
For rule 1, treat the wood.
Oh my God, he didn't Google it.
You're living in a
enough.
tropical environment. let's
Oh my
say
God.
let's say the Philippines doesn't have bugs, which of course is, I mean, what I'm saying
I
is,
mean,
let's forget that the bugs exist.
I mean,
The humidity itself will destroy the wood.
if he was living on her land in a tent or something and said he was paying $600 a month, I'd believe it. Maybe. And
Well,
I
he,
mean,
nah,
but there's no numbers in that.
like I
And not for the
said,
other vloggers that posted it
odds
either.
are it's squatter land, and the house is what they call a provincial house. Now, it doesn't have to be in the province. Provincial house is just a coin phrase, meaning the house is not Western standard house. It's basically wooden walls in a roof and then a ceiling, but it looks Western, but it's not. It's all plywood, which again, there's nothing wrong with plywood. Just saying, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
but don't think that he's living in a brick and mortar house. Don't let that fool you. Okay, let's say he's not paying for rent. Let's say he's not paying for lot rent either. $600.
He's traveling. He's going to regular Western restaurants and all that. I'm not buying that. You could wipe that out and just doing that every month. The traveling and eating out could wipe you out of $600 in the Philippines and quick.
Yeah, it's like well,
Right now, if you want to spend a day or two in Boracay and you get a halfway decent place and you go, we're not talking about like going over there and living. You still go into vacation mode when you leave the areas. Anytime you leave the areas, you go in vacation mode. What did we spend for our birthday at Clark? A couple hundred US dollars?
Yeah.
Yeah. Birthday cake and having the food, us eating, and the rental itself easily right there was $300. Then we didn't add in, where we got ourselves each one or two gifts, and by the time we totaled everything out, we were out $600 for that weekend. So it wasn't even a weekend. We were there for what, 2 days?
Yeah.
Insane, guys. Things add up and they add up quick. And even if the guy lived on that land, and we're assuming that if it was in her name or the free agriculture land or whatever it is, I'm sure there's got to be somebody getting something somewhere. And the first time that you don't renew your visa, which is another fee, by the way, and even if it's an SRRV, there's yearly fees on that. So if you factor all that in, the first time you do something wrong or he starts dating, she could report him for just about anything or make anything up possibly. So many of those cases exist where next thing you know, there's other family members banging down the door. We just had, what's his name in that other area? He had to leave. He had to up and root his entire life where he had an online job and everything because the family came back through afterwards. So many different stories. We always say if it's too good to be true, or just watch out. But also remember, I'm not talking about just Filipinos. Watch out for the expats, guys. There's not everybody here is super friendly when it comes to expats. A lot of good people and a lot of bad people. It's like using your brain if you're living in Europe or the US or Canada or Mexico. Good and bad in all areas, but you just have to use your noggin when it comes to
yeah, and that's another thing.
reality. Just don't live vicariously through these bloggers and show up with $500 because they said, here I am, backpack and got a job online, and I'm just, you can't take all of that advice and start doing what they all do, because eventually you're going to run into something.
Right, and like I said, usually, like Heidi said, if you burn a Filipina here, most of the time,
You're gonna go to
you probably have to move to the next couple cities over,
you are going to
because
Kathmandu.
that's what I'm saying
That's
is
what I'm going to
the
do.
probability of that land being owned by that Filipina and then allowing him to live is slim to none.
And
It's
if I ever get out
it's
of here,
okay. There's a chance,
I'm going to
low
Kathmandu.
probability. I would say 85% chance that she's not gonna let him live there. The odds are stacked against you. That if you basically, if you guys have a Filipino relationship, built a house on their property, and then you break up with them, the odds of them letting you live there is slim to none. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You might as well get a ticket to Kathmandu.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's really not the Filipino way, because it's not anybody's way.
No, it's just women's way or men's way. And it doesn't matter if it's you and your man boyfriend and boyfriend, girlfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife. It's just the human being way, and it's
Right.
not all relationships end on those good basis. That's
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
not like it's well, I mean, honestly, I mean, I can't think of anybody who let that happen.
And they're not together, so they've already broke up. So
Right.
I don't know what kind of agreement that they have on that.
Yeah,
So,
odds are, again, the land was never theirs to begin with.
yeah.
Freezio Montana says on the interview, he said he said moved to San Diego in 74 at the age of
Yeah.
17, but a few minutes later he said he's 69 years old.
It's
He
not
seemed like
adding
he
up.
was making his life story up, not adding up.
That happens. I mean, that most definitely happens. And the older you get when you're telling those stories, you do lose track of the years. We've had a few interviews where we've done that and the numbers didn't add up. But, and in that defense, it does happen. Maybe he got the years off or something. So I've heard him say that he lived in those areas. Yes.
Yeah, and then Keith says, my ex was Pinay. That was a nightmare. And again, most of the time when you have a breakup with a Filipina, it usually, guys is different, but most guys don't care. But Filipinas, yeah, when you break off with them, that's personal.
I already read.
Yeah, I said, looking. No. I'm old, man, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Again, if anybody picks on my looks, honestly, we're all old. George found the fountain of the youth. Can't believe he's heading towards 60. Does oh no,
Yeah,
no,
it's a joke.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm 52.
I get that now. That's funny. You're funny.
And how old are you, George?
40. Go.
48, 49. I'm even off on that. You don't even know how old you are?
Well, how old are you?
I'm 52. I just turned
I'm
52.
3 years, so I'm 49.
Yeah, you just had your 49.
I'm 3 years.
I keep
Yeah.
thinking it's 48. We just had birthdays in July.
Yeah. No, that's what threw me off. It's like it just turned. Yeah. California says, George, I know that
Still
because
pretty good for 49.
right. Oh, thanks. I know that because you're on YouTube. So many women in Philippines see you, and I know they hit on you, and you probably just ignore it. But YouTube bring drama to it. No.
I'm just letting you
YouTube-
know that
YouTube is now.
that it would be hard to replace George in many ways. He's got the Western culture in him. He's got the good Filipino traits, and he is good looking for being a Filipino. To me, he looks. What is really going on over? You see these two here? Look at these. Look at these two.
She's asleep. They're
I hope
asleep.
you living your best life over there, bestie. The daughters are. Oh, let me see if they can kind of see him.
Well, they can see him.
Yeah.
They're there.
Well, you have to take that down.
Well, you can't see the other one.
You
for
can't
sure.
see the mom behind them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you see Sarah's candy corn over there. Oh, Sarah sent me candy corn, guys. Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you, Sarah. Now that's probably been what's been going on. I've been in a sugar coma. Right, babe?
Right.
Yeah. Oh man, that was sweet.
George Manning says no proper woman would do those exercise and fashion videos like she did without wanting attention from other men.
That's true. It was alleged that David kind of forced her, and then other people like, no, we don't think she did, and she actually said she did them. So I don't think David forced her. I don't think it was that type of relationship, or I'd be forcing George to wear pantyhose and put them on whatever, JapaneseLove.com.
The doctors have told him to quit smoking and lose weight. He will feel better. Rose had tried to even take him outside on nice days, but David always makes excuses to why not get fresh air.
Could be in depression. There, like I said, there are a few days that I actually don't go out, and George has tried to. I get him. That's why I get the side of David right now. It's not easy being sick and limited, and who knows? They could have had a big fight before she asked him to do all that. We're not hearing a sit down, kind of like you hear me and George talk about a relationship. I haven't heard them both go through that discussion since he's been gone a lot. I hear her saying things when he's not there. I think we're just hearing one side And I get, what people are saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he doesn't feel good. Should he? Yeah, I should be too, but it's not that easy. It's not that cut and dry.
Yeah, D-Man says, how is David? Shane says I think David is 68.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Anthony King says at the VA hospital, you have to have an appointment. As a vet, you can't go when you want to.
That is true.
And Shane, yes, that I know much. Yes, that Rose is 40. Yeah.
And he can't stay there constantly either. It cannot be his hotel room. And I don't think David has the finances to set up an apartment. So Rose keeps repeating that he needs to stay there and get all of his medical care. They're not going to hold him in there forever. They only keep a woman after having a baby like 2 days in a regular hospital. And I don't think they're going to keep him on a permanent basis. So maybe David is playing the crazy card to stay somewhere right now, because they will put you away. At least he's getting it's hard saying, but things are rough, and there's no facilities anymore, not with the migrant problem, not with the other veteran problems and financial problems that the average American's having right now. There's a lot going on in the US. There really is. So it cannot be his permanent place. So of course he's going to burn through that money. We all would. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Black Grandpa, David can't drive his SUV in the Philippines. Why would he buy a car in the US?
At least D-Man says, wow, what a big age gap. Yes and no. There are some crazier age gaps. I think love is love. I've seen a lot of 18 and 21 or 20, 24-year-olds. I've seen 50 and 60-year age gaps here, and that's crazy. So, I mean, the 20-something years, there was bound to be some issues in those relationships later because people go through the change of life. George has been with several people. I've been with several people in my lifetime, and both sides change. Medical things happen.
We can't put him up. We can't put him up.
No, I got that.
Yeah, no, like Shane G says, age gaps are okay in the Philippines. Very common seeing a 60-year-old foreigner strolling his baby along with his 20-year-old wife. Yes, it's common here. And Black Grandpa, just so you know, I don't think it's not that he can't drive. He just doesn't want to drive. Those are two different things. Again, honestly, I don't want to drive here in the Philippines, and I don't recommend it. And again, if you buy a vehicle,
He used to.
it's a question of not
He used to drive.
right. Well, that's what I mean. It's not that he can't. He just doesn't want to.
And I doubt his license is any good in the U.S. anymore. He had been there forever.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
true.
He could have an
Well,
expired-
unless he renewed it last time he was there. But what I'm saying is again, if you own a vehicle here in the Philippines, it's not a question of if it will get hit, it's when will it get hit. So again, it's U.S. driving in here in Mexico, all three different countries, literally. D-Man says, damn, what a wake-up call. I've seen a lot of this happening all over with my friends.
Tommy, we can't really discuss. We discussed a little bit in the beginning, but as far as going into that,
We can't talk
we're
about
not
that
allowed to-
subject.
Right. It's weird. We were just discussing that we could talk about there is a conflict and how our hearts are going out and everything, but covering it and making it a topic it could get the actual channel totally banned. And
Right.
so we can't. We've worked too hard on the channel to go. Unfortunately, it's a crazy world. That I was just telling George that it's okay for CNN and all the other channels, ABC, CBS, to post all of their stuff on YouTube, which is against their policies, not just to get a paycheck, but to actually even have it on there. But they don't do it to them. But a small channel like ours, they will take down. It's weird. They could totally take away the entire channel if we even say those, mention who's in that conflict and everything. So I will talk to you afterwards. I've literally for 2 days been in a partial coma, just not doing super well. It's been more sleep than anything and constant migraines and
Yeah.
not been doing well.
PB Barnes says, hi, Heidi and George. We are
Hi,
here in
PB.
Bacolod. Prices dropped 50% compared to Iloilo.
And I just messaged you, Tommy. I don't, if you're still in here, because I didn't see what time. Yeah, that was a half hour ago. And that's another thing. If you guys have any questions or things that you want to know, we're in the Pampanga, Angeles City area. If you guys have questions or things that we can help you with, definitely message us and let us know what's actually going on with you guys in that manner. I was trying to see what's his name was talking about
Oh, I
the
see.
chat. The chat I actually still sees in the same place on both, so I don't know what device. Who
Yeah.
was saying that earlier?
Rose, a very beautiful woman. Can't imagine how
She
many
is.
subscriber men are trying to hook up with her.
Yeah, and that's understandable, but I don't blame David because we've had some that have come through and made comments about George, and believe it or not, about me. Like, they thought I was pretty, and they, believe me, there's Asian guys interested in me and other people, and lots of people interested in George or vice versa. But some of them make it so evident, and even during the live, they've riled David up. And here's the thing: when they know that I'm riled up, and you guys see me pop off, we've blocked a lot of actual comments where people tried to make me pop off more. I think they like to see David squirm, and I think they like to see Rose squirm and saying things. So much so she had to come forward and make that statement that the reason I put all that up was to update you guys. Maybe it was a little bit of guilt in her heart or something for putting his photo up like that and the video up. I mean, to me, it looked like David was totally out of it. He didn't even look like he even knew. I think he was trying to talk with her, and then she posted the video. A lot of people thought it was tasteless. A lot of people, it's like totally crazy.
Dave Lee says, quick question. Is it possible to get a generator or solar panel to solve those brownout problems? Shane G says, generator or solar panels will solve brownouts. Yes.
But they're not cheap. You can get some individual panels that cost money that have an attachment to it where you can get some power. But right now, there's two resolutions. One is to go into a deep expense of 20,000-30,000 US to actually have them set up. A few of the bloggers have, and a few people actually have. The other one is for, I think they're 5, 6, 7, 8,000 US dollars. They've got solar generated boxes that we've seen like on the Armstrong family and others that sell them, and they generate enough to keep an AC going maybe and to keep a refrigerator going short term. And those are
DC versions anyway.
Right, that they're really extremely expensive. But if people come with the proper money, it may be something that you may want to invest in if you're building a house. Is to, don't plan to buy a $30,000 or $40,000 house. I would plan, if you plan to come here and do that, that you actually invest that kind of money in the beginning. But there's a real big expense in maintaining that. Them power boxes, like the one out on Shergal after that typhoon. He needed to install a second box. It wasn't enough to hold it. So
yeah,
he could only keep his power on, and he spent 20 grand on that.
That's because
12 hours a day. You only get so much use for the day. So he couldn't even turn his power on until 7 in the morning situation.
Well, because again, that tells you.
And
there's a big misconception of solar panels and solar batteries. Keep in mind you need both. Solar panel just drives the electricity from the panels and then converts to DC electricity, but it doesn't hold a charge because
I'd like to see that.
But the batteries are the one that actually cost more than the panels themselves, and that's his problem. Was he thought that the solar panels is, So again, you need both, and I recommend honestly a generator. I mean, because for the most part, electricity is expensive, but not prohibitively expensive. No, I heard somebody says, "Oh, it costs 3 times as much in the Philippines," and no, it costs the same.
Yeah, actually, or I imagine that if we ran our AC, you're talking about the electricity bill.
Yeah, the electric bill. It costs the same in the U.S.
Some areas it can be expensive, but I think it is. It's dropped quite a bit. During the pandemic, it went up quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, I thought that it depends on what you're using to draw all the electricity. Like now we've got it more under control. if we were running the same thing in the US, we'd probably be paying a $300 electric bill. And right now it's about $160 a month. So I don't think but we run a lot of things. We do the lives. There's a lot of equipment being charged. Lights are on all the time, outside light. We have cameras. There's a lot of things going on that, refrigerator, microwave. We have a full Western setup here. So it's going to cost. But in the US, that's what we'd be paying for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're almost on the bottom.
Right.
Heidi, you're right. So many men brag about hitting it every night with their women. All I think is insecurity, and inside they're very unsure of their relationship with the person they're with. Sarah Tyson says David was going to get in a car in the U.S. That's a lot of spa home care in the Philippines. She has some kitchen. By the way.
Right.
She may not qualify as an escort. He can't be in the way in an emergency. She can't move him.
Yeah.
Anthony King says basically to solve Rose's issue is GoFundMe.
If she asked, I'm sure that she actually would, but that's not going to help neither her or him, except for her, to actually pay her bills and help take care of her family. She's not going to buy her visa to get to him, and they're not going to release it. And if David doesn't cooperate, then that's not going to happen at all. So it would resolve it if she could prove that she can get over there, but that's not going to happen. So why open a GoFundMe and say, hey, I'm trying to get money to get a ticket to go get David, when she can't get the visa to go there? And she was trying to tell people that she needs to get the visa to get there, which isn't happening. So a GoFundMe really wouldn't help, except for to pay for her personal expenses and gas. But I'm telling you that if everything is built and paid for and seems to be correct, then her YouTube should be able to pay for that. And if she really needs money, then she would be doing more YouTube and investing more in her YouTube time for sure. So but not when other people are paying for it. In other words, she's getting more money on the side from other people that are helping her than she.
Yeah. And as for David's GoFundMe, maybe people can start GoFundMe for David next useless trip to the US after he gets back here again. Now, the problem with that is, one, again, like what I'm saying is Mr. Fluffy sees it as a useless trip. A lot of Americans will see it the same way Mr. Fluffy's seeing it, meaning they don't want to fund something that they'll see money going to waste. So therefore, odds are it's not going to work.
Everything that he's had done, he might have had other treatments that he couldn't get done in the Philippines, and he could be, like somebody said, bringing back 6 months worth of medicine at a time.
Right, and
we don't know that he's not doing at least that, which would not make it useless. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, and we're not saying that's what it is, but what I'm saying is if Mr. Fluffy sees it as that, he's not alone, I'm sure. Because honestly, again, I don't believe in that. I believe he did go there for a real purpose and a real reason, and really need some medical attention.
Yes, aware
yes,
that what's going on is bringing in money, and at least he was aware of it, that the money was coming in. But I guess things got too, what I call, hot and heavy. There was a lot of guys contacting her, and I think in the end, the jealousy got the best of the whole situation. Medical came in between, and all these other things. So it's very
well. Medical always comes in between. Freezing Montana says he's what?
Surprise. Go at the bottom.
Oh, hey, Beverly. Hello,
hey,
folks.
Sweetie.
Hey, Beverly, how you doing? We missed you.
My God.
Long time no see.
Cupcake.
I hope you're doing good.
Yes. Hi, sweetie.
Nice seeing you.
What is new?
Now, yeah, go ahead. Yes, please
let
us know what's up, what's new, what's going on with you, Beverly.
Yeah.
Freezing
tried reaching out. I figured you've just been really working. Possibly some medical and other things going on. So, hey.
Oh, that's not her.
Oh, Alan Butner.
Yeah, hey, Alan. Freezing Montana talking about this $600 guy. $600 guy. Anyway, his stories don't add up. He reminded me of another expat who got caught up in his tangled web of stories.
There's a lot of them. That's understandable, but understand medical can contribute doesn't make an excuse for it, but there's a few of them that can't. Yes.
All right, Mark Thorin, don't take this. Don't take it personally. I didn't type this up. Freezing Montana says he was just on Geo, and every guy makes up a story.
There you go.
Yeah. Shane G says, guys, if you want to move to the Philippines and plan on having a girlfriend, you need at least, very least, 1,500 a month. If you
Even as
don't
a
have that,
single, I
work on getting
wouldn't,
there. Yeah, again, these
because everything-
$600 budgets, yeah.
or even 1,000, can you do it? The answer is yes, but you're going to lose out on everything. And then the first thing that comes out, then you're going to be homeless. Been a lot of homeless expats here lately. And that's just the ones that you guys are seeing. There's a bunch that we hear about on the side through Facebook. As a matter of fact, just on a side note, I just heard from a guy that he's been here for a few years and he's been sick ever since he's been here. And that reminds me, the guy said that about every other time he ends up with food poisoning. And it was just that guy on there that said that the only thing that's going to make you sick is the water here. And you do have to be careful for food quality. That's why a lot of expats do cook at home. That's why they avoid the street food. That's why we say don't come here and start shoving everything in your mouth, drinking the tap water and do everything, because the handling of food here, your stomach's not built up to that bacteria. The meat sometimes stays out half the day before they cook it on a grill at the night markets, and the food prep is not what you guys are used to. I'm not saying that the U.S. is perfect, but at least they're using, they've got running water to clean up their areas and all that. When you go out at night, them street vendors, they don't have all that when they clean up in between cooking and people touching the counters. Everybody touches the bottles, that they're putting over their food. Guys, there's all kinds of things that can go south as far as stomach thing. And my mouth dropped when that guy said clearly that food poisoning is not really a thing here. And I'm like, in so many words, that's what he said. He said it's the water. And he goes, I haven't heard of hardly any cases since I've been here. And that's not true.
No,
this guy
no.
said he's been in the hospital several times over food poisoning. And that's what was determined.
Yeah, I'm not saying the food here is bad, no. But street food, unless you're accustomed to it or have adjusted to it, it will affect anybody.
And watch when you're buying all your food. You can't buy chicken at 3 p.m. that started out like at 5, 6 a.m. when they don't have refrigeration on it. You're just going, there's a
Which
lot
they do,
of
by the
things.
way.
And so until your stomach, these are Filipinos that have been eating like this for forever and a day. So you got to actually be careful on. In other words, they've been since a little kid eating that type of food. So even if it's set up for 3 days, they're good with it.
Yeah, it's correct.
It's all kinds of things can go south on that.
Yeah.
So
Richard Cassell, good morning. Happy Saturday. Hello from Chicago, Illinois,
Hey,
USA.
Richard.
Rich in the house. California Oscar. Hey, George, do you know any Filipino that's going to allow a foreigner to live and build on land that's public without going to authorities and filing a complaint and chasing them out? You'd be surprised. A lot of them actually shut up and just leave them alone. But you have a higher probability of being reported, yes.
and especially if he comes up with other girlfriends or other things, there's going to be family watching. Or if he decides in another year that he's not going to help that family, he could be buying them things. He could be doing other things. You can't do it forever. And then one day you're going to cop an attitude and be like, why should I continue to do that? Then they're going to find a reason to throw you out. And it's not everybody is,
Right.
George is going to throw me out.
Richard Cassell says the average rent on the north side is $1,600 a month. You believe that? That's crazy for one bedroom. North side.
Yeah.
Mm,
I'm going to Rafina you.
no.
Will you Rafina me later?
Oh my gosh.
Will
Seriously?
you Campbell me later?
Oh, what?
Do something. We can call it Campbell.
Oh my gosh.
Campbell in the house.
The Shane G says these YouTubers telling people live like a king on $1,000 a month are lying to you. Shame on them. You will struggle if you have a girlfriend. Well, yeah,
You're gonna struggle. And I actually told George that I 100% approve of that young couple, another young couple that's here, and they said that they actually made this statement about that you can live on X amount of money when you're actually here. But it's a new world now that living on that kind of money, you just can't. You just can't. That there's a new budget now after the pandemic. Rents are going up here. Some of them in this area for what I would call expat standard or OFW standard could be 25, 30, 40, 50, 60,000. 1,000 US would be for a so-so place in some areas around here. And I'm like, you're talking, I can't even begin to say that it's, when you guys will see these places, you'll be like, that's 1,000 US dollars. But then some people that are living in a place in the US that they're paying 2 and 3 grand for and paying a lot of money, at first it'll seem cute. Oh my God, I'm only paying 1,000 a month, and you'll be okay for it. And you'll be living in that Flintstone mind, you know, you'll be like, oh, wow, this is, everything's cheap. And then you wake up like I do.
Well, it's like,
and then it's like, what?
it's kind of
Wait a
like,
minute. Then you start nitpicking. It's like, okay, it's really loud, and it's really, I can't take this and I can't take that, and the neighbors are this, and eventually you're ready to move. And some people outright, it's
kind of like
move.
camping. Everybody loves camping to a certain extent.
Until you're homeless and you're actually living there all the time.
Exactly. It's like, you know, waking up to birds and the bees in the morning, and the smell of woods smells great for a couple
Morning
days, and after that, you're
Morning
like,
wood.
I want to go home.
George, you got morning wood?
No. Um,
But yeah, it's kind of like, it's like, somebody shut up them damn bees.
yeah, something like that.
And it's like, oh, a bear crapped in the woods.
Yeah, like me and Heidi love camping. We camped a lot, but again, we can only handle it for a couple of days, and then we go home. You know what I mean?
Before we were choking each other out like Bart and Bart Simpson.
Actually,
Bart and Dart Simpsons.
no, babe.
Oh, you mean
To clarify, we really didn't fight whenever we're camping.
Hey, George. We were more like the birds and bees, weren't we?
It was more
The
like,
birds and-
George, what are you throwing in the fire now? Kind of deal. But anyway.
Until the legal leaf ran out. Don't. Ba-da-da. Ba-da. Da-da-da. Oh, baby. It's been a long time. Sweet leaf. Ozzy.
I probably have
Dun,
to.
dun,
Yeah, no.
Da-da.
Freezing Montana says he just flew into Dumageddon, is making his rounds to be interviewed by all the vloggers there to drum up viewers for his channel. He's phony, I think. Now,
you know what it reminds me of, and that's why I'm not actually mentioning their names at all. So
well,
you guys can talk amongst
you can mention the
yourself.
other guy's name, probably. I
Well,
don't know. Maybe not.
I'm not going to
Maybe
mention
not.
anybody's name.
Yeah.
Okay, how come we not putting too
Bottom
much
line,
into-
it sounds a lot like somebody that
Oh, you mean World
used to
Zoom?
be everywhere. Yes.
We're not saying that he's the same allegedly, but here comes the. All I know is you have to.
If the story's too good to be true.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Black Grandpa says you can rent land in the Philippines for 10 to 100 years, but after the lease is up, the owner retains posse.
He said that it was free land and that she owned the land.
And
That's something along that line. So there's no such, and then it wouldn't be free then, wouldn't it? So I don't think she's just letting him stay there for free, even if it is a lease. That's not free. The
well,
lease is still not free.
no
like you said. That's
family
what I
would
said.
allow a foreigner live on their property with somebody else.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, dang it. Oh, they still can't see the cat. Dang it, man.
well, they're kind of camouflage.
Well, they still can't.
They're there. They're there.
That's a face right there. You can't see her blend into her mother. That's her mother right
Black
there.
Grandpa, come on, guys, get the likes up. Thank you so much, Black Grandpa.
See, there's two cats.
Oh, this is different. Neil says my ex-wife has a house in Muntinlupa, and she just expanded her house into the government land with no regards.
Yeah, most of them don't. There's whole areas down by the river here where they're renting those places out, and it's not even their land. They've actually built on land that's not even so. It's weird. It's weird what's upheld here and what's not. And always remember that, you know, the law can work with you or against you here, possibly, allegedly, maybe. Would you like some chicken joy?
Right. Victorious, yeah. Victoria says it's probability high. It may be. Oh, okay. It's probably high. It may be a squatter area government. Yeah, no. Odds are it's probably a squatter land.
And
Yes.
even if it's the lease, and let's say she somehow owns the land or it's family land, more likely to be family land. It's not free. He could have said that he pays a couple hundred pesos, a month for it, or a couple hundred US for it, but it's not free. It's a statement where he said it was free on top of it that was kind of blew my mind.
Yeah. Shane G says never buy vacant land to plan on a building in a few years. You may end up with squatters. You're responsible for paying or to relocate them. If you do, make sure you build a high wall with barbed wire and a gate to match. Bottom line, don't make it accessible at all. Yeah, otherwise, yes, somebody will live there.
Mhm.
California Oscar, Heidi, how about that YouTube guy that built a house and put a pool? Now he's paralyzed and can't walk. He's selling it for $214K. Who dropped that kind of dollars in this economy? So making a house $5K.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many guys here that have arrived that have become sick. Are you talking about the guy that ended up in the hospital that had all those treatments that was paralyzed and he's healed
that
now?
guy. Yeah, okay.
Well, we know there's one and he does
yeah.
own something, but you'd be surprised. When I calculated that other house for 43,000, that's a low-end house in some places. So no surprise at 214,000. For $1 million, you can actually possibly $1 million US, you can actually buy commercial property and probably a resort somewhere. But a lot of people are like, well, shit, that's a good deal. But when you start thinking about the whole scheme of it, what's the shape of that? It's usually in bad shape when they're actually selling at that price, and people start instantly thinking about profit and they're going to make money. And those places stay empty all the time. Like them last few places that Rafina went to. For Christ's sake, they were charging $200 a night, $150 a night. And I'm like, I looked at those places. I would not go pay that. And those places stay empty most of the time. Not all these, resorts that are here actually constantly have, you have to have good advertisement and you have to have good placement and be in a lot of places. And there's a ton of places to stay at here. So I don't see how people get that kind of money. Even the $1,000 a month's kind of wild for me. But there are places that are several thousand a month, but in the US, those same places that are, more upscale, have full appliances and have modern conveniences. Like we've seen one where the gate was electric and opened up and it had everything. It had all the upgrades. Like what's his name's Mikey Busto's got a hell of a place now. And he's a vlogger and his place is totally up to date and everything, but I believe that set him back quite a bit, but that's a lot of money.
Oh. Beverly says work has been insane. Everyone quit. I work and sleep, and that's absolutely it.
I figured that's what
Oh,
it
wow.
was.
Yeah, we figured that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that, Beverly. Sorry to hear that. And again, California's right, and this is why I highly doubt that the lot is free. George, if you date a Filipina and you go out with another Filipina, they find out about each other and you better run. And their families are gonna go out, be looking for you too. No, fact. That's why I said.
And if they don't, it's usually because you're greasing somebody's palms.
Yeah, you have to move two cities over to get away once you break up with a Filipino or Filipina. Depending on the area, of course. The more provincial it is, the more you have to go away. Kind of like in a city, the bigger the city, odds are no.
Expats are seen as support for the entire family, and when you break up with one, it's kind of like a breakup with them all. And if you still financially are helping, it's kind of and I get it, because a lot of these girls quit their jobs and the guys make promises. There's another one. I was watching the other channel, and I won't mention his channel, where he's talking about other expats too, things going wrong. And I guess she quit her job and then bought a e-trike. And I'll have to listen to the full story. And there's, it left her without a job. Now she's stuck with the payment, and now he's went off and he's possibly with somebody else, but married still in the U.S. And I'm like, well, how do you get all the paperwork to get past all of that? And it's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here, you know.
Mr. Saab says, why buy when you can rent? Exactly. And Big Dave says Gio's lied about his age in a past video. Mr. Saab says, oh yeah, Gio's 4 years old in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anthony King says Rose been driving his SUV.
Yeah, she got her license, so don't blame her. I would be too.
Mr. Saab says there are many homeless camps in California where you can say he's talking about David Campbell.
Well, that may be where he ends up because, like this guy that's trying to get back to the UK or America, or this guy trying to help him, he may be sending him into a worse situation. And who knows? It's if he's going, you know, he can't stay in a hospital forever. So where is he going to go after that? They're not going to let him easily back into the Philippines. Can he come in on a visitor visa again? The answer is yes, but where's the guy if he has no money at all? How's he going to get back here and start all over again? He's kind of stuck in a bad boat right now too.
Yeah. Francis and Draper says David can't move one arm. Doesn't make sense. He would buy a car. Now be aware, again, I'm not picking on David, but I know a lot of people with one arm, one leg,
He drove before.
one eye, and can drive.
He was driving just within the year. So it's hard saying. Maybe he was going to have somebody drive him. Yeah.
Alan Buhner says, got my 13A approved, going to Baguio Thursday to get my paperwork. That's awesome.
So that would be your temporary 13A, which he keeps for an actual year, and then he has to go through the process again. So that is awesome.
Francis and Draper says, regarding food, meats, and fish out all day, hot weather at the wet market. Yes, that's why you go at 6:30 in the morning to get your meats.
Yeah.
W says, years ago as a child, I would watch Dallas on Friday nights. Now I just watch Mr. Campbell go to the airport. I can't take on another vlogger to follow. I'm maxed out. I wish him and her the best.
Yes, I'm with you because it's kind of like between that and the conflict and watching Shameless and all these other shows and keeping up with George's drama here, I get wiped out too.
Right.
I wish I just wonder to watch Dallas again.
There you go. Dun, 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 dun. Yep, exactly. Ruby says every time we visit Angelus, we only drink either filtered or bottled water. You should. should. My body is no longer adapted to the tap water in Angelus. No. Water here in the Philippines, depending where you are, it's either chlorinated or bacterially zoological. Anyway.
Yeah.
Mr. Saab sucks. Filipino only remember last favor. They forget all other times you help them. They will remember when you say no and hate you. Very ungrateful people don't help them ever. Now, be aware that this is no different in America. There's a lot of different
That is true.
levels of Filipino, same as there are different levels of American, different levels of African, different levels of British.
True. Yeah, we can.
Okay, now for instance, my family would have never asked for us for anything. In fact, like they've been the one helping us.
Yes, they've helped us many times.
Yeah.
And his daughter comes over here and brings us food all the time on our holidays. His sister sends food to us through the Grab system, and so we've been blessed. So it's not always, you can't like throw everybody. A lot of the stuff we say is a warning to keep your eyes open and do your diligence. On the expat side, they can do the exact same thing to you. There's groups of expats that are only out to do the same thing. They'll actually meet up with people in the mall and try to scam them right there in the mall. I need passport money. Can you get me a hotel room? Do you mind if I stay with you? They get in, then they refuse to leave. They end up fighting with the guys, and all kinds of stuff has happened. You know, so it's crazy, guys. It's you have to see if you're strong enough to handle it.
Yeah. Francis Van Draper, if your family's not paying $1 million, then they're squatting on someone else's land, meaning they're not paying rent or a lease. They need permit to build a house legally, but with their low budget anyway, they're just doing DIY construction. No, keep in mind,
that could be what that house was.
a lot of squatter areas, they don't even need permits.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time they don't.
I've seen some crazy stuff here. You can see a real nice restaurant right around the corner. They've got a total setup, brick, wood, and boxes, all in the same construction.
Yep.
And there's 3 or 4 families living in it. And I'm like, yeah.
Right.
And actually, we talked about taking some of the Christmas to those specific families that are up and down the area that we know. And George says sometimes that's a can of worms, because if we just can't take care of one, and we don't have the finances to do like 20 or 30 families, nor are we going to sit here and say, hey guys, give us the money so we can do this.
You don't want a mob of people at your front
That's
door.
what he just said, kind of like when we got the kids the other day, just a few days ago, the kids showed up, but it wasn't the regulars. It was one of the regulars, and he brought a whole mob of kids with him. And I actually took the time and I said, hey guys, not today. And so, because there's no way we were going to feed like 10 kids all at once, because he brought a bunch of kids with him. And we get the ideal of that, that he was trying to get candy and snacks and stuff for the new group of kids. But it's, we've already had a talk with those kids on that. But yeah.
Yeah. W says, Anthony says, too funny, W. And California says, George, you're right. I have 3 legs and I can still drive. I can see California Oscar going, and then he's going to steer.
You wish you had a 3rd leg.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you,
We actually
guys.
originally had 3 subjects set for you today, but we were out of time. We'll just set that next time.
Yeah, we'll go into the discussion about a few of the homeless expats, and the one that was just mentioned. There'll probably be some more updates because he's already given an update. I would really like to talk to the gentleman. We might be able to get him to come on the live. He's been at some meet and greets with Sunshine Shoulders before. And I think he's doing good work. I just think he needs to think it through, because if I was in his position and the guy got there and couldn't make it, that would be also a really bad situation. But he's in a dire situation now. It looks like another Filipino family's taking care of this guy. And so they're being really nice, but he's been burnt by a few people too already. So girlfriend, another family tried to get him to set up. It's crazy. This is another one of those crazy stories, and a lesson to be learned like this one. This isn't, this is, we hope that David and Rose work things out. Whatever is going on, I really, we've put offers out there if Rose needs additional help for her channel, that we'd be more than glad to tell her, the things that we've learned from our YouTube manager. We've offered it before. I think she should go forward and take care of the channel and put other content out. And she could still do nice updates like, okay, me and David's not talking. Honestly, I don't think people are contacting her to find out real updates about David. I think they really want to know about her life. Honestly, I think they care about David, don't get me wrong. But to the consensus of her page, it's, hey, Rose, you need to move on. Hey, Rose, I like you. Hey, everything's Rose, Rose, Rose. And use that to your advantage, girl. Go through and start doing.
Is he gone yet? Hey, Rose, is he gone yet?
You could use that to your full advantage to continue your exercise videos, show your cooking, show your son's achievements like you were, and go back to that and wait for your husband to come back and all those good things. And, believe me and George go through the same thing. I'm going to tell you right now what David and Rose is going through. I'm not saying my condition is to that, dire need. But that could be the future, or it could be vice versa, where I have to do a bunch of stuff for George. And it's, she could still make money on this YouTube channel. And, we wish the best for David. And it's a lesson to be learned on this guy. Thank you, Kay Dallas.
Thanks so much, Kay Dallas. Appreciate
Kay Dallas. We really do appreciate you guys being here. I know I keep getting timed out on this one. I don't know why that keeps happening.
Just real quick, one legal way to own land as an expat in the Philippines, your legal spouse has to die and none of his or her blood relatives exist.
Yeah, you're just not going to get it right off.
You're
the bat.
just not
There's
going to inherit it.
And you need
all of the blood
attorneys
relatives
involved.
don't exist anymore.
That's rare that's granted.
Extremely rare.
I've heard of one person since I've been here 2.5 years And that one person, they had no other relatives. There was no kids.
Yeah.
They had no children. So if you guys have kids, it's more than likely going to drop to the kids before it is. It's still kind of
Yeah.
like being in the Middle
He'll
East
bypass
kind
you.
of rules. So it just regular expats or expats just don't own land. Commercial is the only way, and even then there are rules to that. So, and it requires a lot of attorneys and money. So it's
Yeah.
but it's rare that it happens. So there
It's not
has
that
to
simple.
be,
Yes.
there has to be reasonings, kind of like Finn Snow. I know he's actually building a house right now, and there's land and everything else. Well, I believe he is tied in with the government right now, works with them, and there's probably commercial property involved. We don't know if he leased the land. I haven't heard the full story, or it's his wife that owns it right now. So
Right.
a lot going on, guys.
Heidi, you look great. George, good job. Night night. Thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate you so much.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you. It was good to see you in the house, Beverly. Thank you, Sarah, so much for the actual box. We are really enjoying it. We'll release a video of things going on. We did record when we opened it up. I just, like I said, been down and everything, sleeping. Thank you. Thank you, Ted, for being in here. Mr. Fluffy
Mr. Fluffy.
was in
Mark Goldberg.
here.
Hi, this is Dave. Liberty Frog.
Yeah, I can't
Chosen
see
One.
anything. D-Man.
Papa Smurf. Yep. Joseph, of course. Joseph Relaford. Thank you so much. Carl Butts. Matt T. Where's the beef? Be Free. Will Smith.
Ruby.
Stephen Whistler. Joe T. Francis N. Draper. Knight D12.
Did we see Scott?
No. Scott Baird. That's Scott.
Where's Scott?
I don't know. He's probably boarding up his boat. I'm joking. But
Right.
Josie F, Shane G, thank you so much.
And
Keith
everybody be
Jenkins,
safe that is in the U.S. with the conflicts that are going on.
Freezing Montana.
Hug your family
Anthony
and love
King.
your family, or tolerate them.
Yep. Hey, why'd you look at me when you said that? Big Dave, bye. K Dawes, bye. Sarah Tyson, night night. And, oh yeah, Harry Walsh, good night. Night night,
Thank
Harry
you
Walsh. Thanks so much,
for
guys.
being here. We
Appreciate you so much. You
it.
guys been a great audience. We love you all. Thank you so much.
See you guys soon. God bless
Bye.
everybody. Bye, guys.